we can meet. That's our. We gotta stop pretending, man. We gotta learn to really love ourselves. I'm saying, like, really learn to love in ourselves. You know what I mean? It's a little something I wrote for the brother. Yeah. This world, one of our spirits, they hope they evaporated. Stimulated revolution, so they hope they never penetrated. So we never feel what it's like to truly love and just be infatuated. The peak of our passion, never angry, not really just aggravated. We can meet, that's our union, would simply mean that we acclimated. Just content to be human, not realizing that we still separated. Passionless, never penetrated. And so our spirits will never get impregnated with the seed of revolution that was purposely never designated a day for its birth to be celebrated. Never knowing the truth of ourselves, and they just keep working. That's why we hesitate. Shit. So I'ma celebrate it every day on my elevated perch, because the purpose is never belated, right? It was purposely never celebrated. So I'ma salute it every day like it's never belated. Taji Akib, the wolf on the words, Joy's on the beat. Happy belated. X. You're alone all the time.
Why should we concern ourselves? What impact does what happened to them have upon us? Number one, first you have to realize that up until 1959, Africa was dominated by the colonial powers, and by the colonial powers of Europe having complete control over Africa. They protected the image of Africa negatively. They protected Africa always in a negative light. As long as we felt imprisoned or chained or trapped by black skin, black features, and black blood, that skin and those features and that blood that was holding us back automatically had to become hateful to us. Brotherhood of everybody. For the 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 brotherhood of everybody. And other
Black power, black power.
Always. Dynamite. Okay, we're doing a tribute to Malcolm X tonight. Okay.
Right. Excellent.
Okay. So our Denver studio, will be showing us clips.
Luther King is the 20th century or modern Uncle Tom or a religious Uncle Tom who is doing the same thing today to keep Negroes defenseless.
Happy birthday to Malcolm.
That Uncle Tom did on the
Yeah, and that's him at UC Berkeley in 1962.
In that day. The white man
this is actually the anniversary of me being on the front line. Panther front line. The anniversary. You got something. Malcolm X. Oh, this is tight.
Martin Luther King Jr. is a fucking Uncle Tom. You turn the other cheek.
Hold on. What up, brother? Black Power.
We ain't gotta
Black Power always.
No good, dirty ass pig. If I had it my way, you be lying in this ditch. Great, take you in the grave right next to Emmett Till. You know how living life, non-violent really feels. Can't mix with the best of the best. I'm too ill. I organize, conceptualize this big deal. Don't deal with big words, don't deal with big people. We must come to understand the white man. Necessary, look the gap for accomplishment. It means necessary, put a bullet in your office. No rest for the wicked or the crooked or incompetent. Cause thou shall not kill, but I ain't making any promise. Any means necessary, look the gap for accomplishment. Any means necessary, put a bullet in your office. No rest for the wicked or the crooked or incompetent. Cause thou shall not kill, but I ain't making any promises. Hey yo, I'm feeling like I'm Malcolm cause I'm known for my integrity. Known to speak my mind when they came for my family. Scoping for the ops cause I know they come after me. Homie got a problem, turn them into black history. Straight at the devil's gate, let's set it off. My brothers, my sisters, take up arms. No rest for the wicked or the crooked or incompetent. Cause thou shall not kill, but I ain't making any promise. No, the infiltrator, child intoxicator, people incarcerator, liberation movement annihilator. Been hoodwinked, been bamboozled, been tossed away. I will not go astray, no matter what it takes. I disagree with the passive ways of MOK. We see injustice and we stand up and disobey. People shouldn't fear the government, that's the issue. The government should fear the people's right to pass any means necessary, load the gap for accomplishment. Any means necessary, put a bullet office. No rest for the wicked or the crooked or incompetent. Cause thou shall not kill, but I ain't making any promise. Any means necessary, load the gap for accomplishment. Any means necessary, put a bullet in your office. No rest for the wicked or the crooked or incompetent. Cause thou shall not kill, but I ain't making any promises.
Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have a house. It should catch on fire and burn down.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
The aggressors of our time blast guns at our heads, tear gas and smoke grenades, beat us down with slave whips, attack dogs, water hoses, army tanks, police batons. When they see us, they feel threatened, so they sound off the alarm. We got laws in our churches, we got guns in our schools. God made us for a purpose. We march with street rules. We must fight for our suffrage. We must boycott the bus, demonstrating street protests, put economies to dust. I am living in disgust the brutal ways of this country. This Sunday will be bloody, push from Selma to Montgomery. Negotiate, demonstrate, delegate. We resist. We must judge by the heart, not the color of thy skin. Let's see, one day we will prevail. One day we will succeed. All the vision be unveiled. One day he'll set us free. Every former slave master and every former slave standing up against the hatred. Free at last, Jesus saves. Racism must end, cause it's plaguing us from love. Both sides must change, Lord heavens up above. One day we'll learn to listen. One day we'll come together. No matter what the cost, no matter what the weather. The oppressors of our time carry legacies of blood. Do not follow Malcolm Little, a retired street thug. You should straighten out your hair, sleep around with white girls, pimped out to the system. Now who's the Uncle Tom? I'm dreaming for the unity, community for all. I'm dreaming for my children, generations to come. I will dream to disturb the peace so that justice is served. Desegregation of our schools, free speech on free terms. A lot of people talking loud, but they ain't saying nothing real. A lot of people in the crowd still ain't making mass appeal. No appeal with intention, shake the conscience of the South. Any means necessary, that's what gets a Negro killed. One day we will prevail, one day we will succeed. All the vision be unveiled. One day he'll set us free. Every former slave master and every former slave standing up against the hatred. Free at last, Jesus saves. Racism must end, cause it's plaguing us from love. Both sides must change, for heaven's up above. One day we'll learn to listen, one day we'll come together. No matter what the cost, no matter what the weather.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spirit. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
And you Uncle Toms are sitting at a lunch counter begging a white man for a cup of coffee.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? First of all, if you made it to this point in the video, you the GOAT, man. Thank you for watching the full rap battle in its entirety. Happy Black History Month, man. This was a really fun project, something a little bit different for me, and I hope you guys were here for it. But the ultimate question, now that you're at this point in the video, now that you're in the outro, here's what I want to know, guys. Who won this battle, bro? Was it Malcolm X with Any Means Necessary, or was it Martin Luther King with I Have a Dream? Choose your fighter in the comment section.
I'm not even going to dignify that question
Can't
with
wait
an
for the
answer.
next one, y'all.
Not
Thank
today.
y'all for being a part of this. Thank y'all for getting to this point in the video.
Not today. I'm not even going to dignify that question with an answer.
Love God, love people.
Not
See you on the
today.
next one.
But out of all fairness, they did wind up working with each other with limited time that they had.
It's grown man shit.
It's not a question of who was better. It was a question of which perspective did you have.
I don't wanna teach how to sell, chopping cool, yeah. All my favorite rappers
Please share this episode, share on our social media.
I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them. You wanna teach these little girls to put their pussy on the pole and at the end of the night, get their money off the floor. I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them. What about Patrice, Malcolm, Hewitt, P? I don't want these kids to grow up and be me.
Was Malcolm who inspired Hewitt P?
I used to teach them, knock them out. Some pussy niggas, know I'm talking about. Big dope, big weight, we only sell to us. Self-hate, big guns, we only shooting us. Big pimpin', dumb fucks. No revolution, they dead broke. No history on black folks. We fucked up, y'all niggas know it. These kids are our weight, me and Toey. You ain't got keys, no bricks. Bitch boy niggas, no dicks. And if you sellin' in the hood, why you proud, nigga? Them our folks getting high, nigga. These our kids in real life. You rapping about what they living like, yeah. Chopping cool, yeah. All my favorite rappers either dead or in jail. I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them. You wanna teach these little girls to put their pussy on the pole and at the end of the night, get their money off the floor. I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them, I don't wanna teach them. What about Patrice, Malcolm, Hewitt, P? I don't want these kids to grow up and be me. I don't wanna teach them. Certain rappers gon' want beef. This ain't about y'all, it's about me. My soul, our kids. White folks, they dope in our cribs. Big chains, big whips round your neck. And
history. The only thing they gon' say about black folks, we like to fuck hoes and sell dope, shoot jump shots, and run balls. Take white money and give it right back at the mall. Louis Vuitton, hate niggas. Gucci hate niggas. He'll figure Ben said fuck niggas. Hot me down with that shit too. But black folks first to get not tell. Topic cool, yeah. All my favorite rappers in jail. I don't wanna teach them. I don't wanna teach them. I don't wanna teach them. Y'all wanna teach these little girls to put their pussy on the pole, and at the end of the night get their money off the floor. I don't wanna teach them. 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 What about the trees? Not you and me. I don't want these kids to grow up and be me. I don't wanna teach them.
The music is banging, man. It went on mute though, so you know.
Yeah, what it is, man. It went on mute, man. It's because you know you got outside forces all fucking with it.
Hey, send them links to everybody. I would put that in the chat. Put them links out. You know.
Okay, I can't send them Dynamite. Yeah, because he's talking about sending them to Dr. Truthbag, Akbar, and Brother Pete. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to do that, Dynamite, because I'm having issues with this computer.
Oh, I don't know if I can do it either. When I back out, okay, well, put it in the chat and I'll copy it.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all put it in the chat for me and I'll copy it out.
It's in the private chat. Can you see it in the private chat?
I thought that's where I was.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the private chat.
Send it to Blacc. You got his, right?
Lord have mercy.
Yes.
Boy, Streamyard is some dirty motherfuckers, boy.
That didn't tell me. It is.
Okay. Dynamite, okay.
Jay
sent you the YouTube link. Yeah, the YouTube link, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they won't let us share the Streamyard link.
Oh, you can't share the Streamyard?
So everybody go on mute.
Young generation, young generation, living at a time of extreme, a time of revolution.
Revolting again. Power structure. The American power structure? No. The French power structure? No. The English power structure? And what power structure? An international Western power structure.
And I, for one, will join in with anyone. Don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth. There's got to be a change. People in power have misused it, and now there has to be a change, and a better world has to be built, and the only way it's going to be built is with extreme methods.
So what you and I have got to do is get involved. You and I have to be right there breathing down their throat. Every time they look over their shoulder, we want them to see us. What those intentions are based on, we can get to the nitty-gritty of the problem. We can get to the core of the problem. We can get to the root of it, and then we can correct the problem.
Video. At night I watch the sky. I'm taking up a breath. I smoke my Newport to the breath like it's the last motherfucking lap.
Just me and you, we made enemies. Let you get my last shot of Hennessy. Ain't never had a friend like me. Remember memories so vividly. Was once a little dust kicking, now become the G. Who can I call when they all fail? Collect calls to my dogs from the county jail. Sending me mail, urban blocks in the same shape. Ain't nothing changed, niggas slanging at the same place. The same places supposed to always hate our foes. This lifestyle is forever, watch the game unfold. Shedding crocodile tears to look out like plus. And you wonder if these white devils like us. Just stay strong, will appeal, nigga, you'll be free. Down with you to the very end. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Video. I'm down deep, so ride with me. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows what will be. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. You against the nation. Whisper while we conversating. Cause niggas died over information. How much more can we take? Expect us all to break the world. Ain't ready for us yet, so let's make it take. I'm down deep, so ride with me. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows what will be. My enemies are enemies. Boy, never had a friend like me. You against the nation. Whisper while we conversating. Cause niggas died over information. I think the president is smoking weed, bumping this beat, making a living out my misery. But they got a friend like me. Nobody knows where we'll be. My enemies are enemies. You ain't never had a friend like me. Not be blamed, forgive me, Lord, I'm insane. In search of fame, won't work to change. Following the footsteps of past dealers. You put a ski mask, no witnesses, we blast dwellers. Right now they jealous and attack the war. No casualties, no survivors. Any man that device quickly dies. Cause we got us in my quest for chips. We wear vests equipped with automatic fire. We reply when my enemies trip. Me and you against the nation. Whisper while we come. Cause niggas died over information. How much more can we take? Expect us all to break the world ain't ready for us yet, so let's make it take. They never wanted us to make it. Everything that we possess, we had to fight and take it. I think the president is smoking weed, bumping this beat, making a living out my misery. So they got a friend like me, yo. I'm down deep, so ride with me. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows what will be. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. You against the nation. Whisper while we conversating. Cause niggas died over information. How much more can we take? Expect us all to break the world ain't ready for us yet, so let's make it take. I'm down deep, so ride with me. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows what will be. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. You against the nation. Whisper while we conversating. Cause niggas died over information. I think the president is smoking weed, bumping this beat, making a living out my misery. So they got a friend like me. Nobody knows what will be. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Promise to visit. I know it's stuff in your cell. Receiving mail to the county jail. This is hell. When I was younger, I could picture living in luxury so hot fuck that I ended up in prison. Fucking shit, they got me close by my own side. I found him by myself on drama, he alone died. Nobody tried, should have never testified. You got my nigga 25, so now I sacrifice her life. Help to separate me and my dog. Broken ties, why the fuck said I let you live? But I'm dead inside, right to find my delivery. I'm rusting at their whole crew, nigga, remember me. Hit up my outlaw set, to throw my pistol in the ocean. Bitch, my ski mask, and get the straight coast. This visiting day, I said quitting, always there to see the closest road dog. Cause you ain't never had a friend like this. Video. I'm down deep, so ride with me. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows what will be. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. You against the nation. Whisper while we conversating. Cause niggas died over information. How much more can we take? Expect us all to break the world ain't ready for us yet, so let's make it take. I'm down deep, so ride with me. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows what will be. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. You against the nation. Whisper while we conversating. Cause niggas died over information. I think the president is smoking weed, bumping this beat, making a living out my misery. So they got a friend like me. Nobody knows where we'll be. My enemies are enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me.
The purpose of our organization of Afro-American Unity, which has the same aim and objective, to fight whoever gets in our way.
and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary.
Yeah, new Malcolm X. By any means, I learned from what I seen, had a dream, till it turned to a nightmare. Martin Luther the King without a queen, now I mean, still shining in front of the hood like high beams, yeah I mean, it seems I'm as great as a god. They say I'm the bomb, I got a date with Saddam. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Cooking turkey bacon, but I don't pray to Allah. Nah, die for it all or live for something. Shit can get disgusting within this discussion. Fuck it, would you risk your life for what you believe in? The world is cold, at least you wasn't anemic. They wanna kill me mid-speech, afraid of my truth. A few real niggas left, they hate that I'm proof. My value on demand, niggas can't ignore it. And if you can't buy it twice, then you can't afford it. See, I'm the man of all this real shit these niggas is claiming. They physically free, mentally living in cages. Pray for them. New Malcolm X. By any means, I learned from what I seen. Had a dream, till it turned to a nightmare. Martin Luther the King without a queen, now I mean.
By any means, get out of me. In the coupe, my Miss Coretta Scott theme. And I swear I had a dream. I had a dream. But there was none like that, the king. I know their life is pie, I'm a tiger, I'm pissed. Sing on you clowns, swimming up a scene, drunk, pray to God, I don't drown. I'm Mr. $1, ain't got a dollar in my pocket, pick up coin at the gravel, long travel road, I suppose. I expose myself through the music, talking execution, moves I do, kick dumb flips, somersault, mastermind when the kill spring, then somersault, summer assault, mash words, mumble talk, on fumble, y'all. Look at me rambling as usual. You don't know what 16 gunshots would do to you. 2 handguns. Shotgun user like bluka, 1 none I can do. I was focused on the movement, want kill me, then do it like we can be the start and the spark of the revolution, televised through some rebel eyes, hella uncivilized, dangerous, capable individuals and odds. Man, just bringing the pallbearers, all y'all fault, start from y'all errors. Lord, them people you call home, equip them with long feathers and make sure that they start my steps wherever I walk. And yeah, I'm Malcolm X on the X pill. On the jet, going to Russia to go be further. Hope they don't check the customs, connectors or whatever. Hope they don't check the customs.
A lot of guys just overstate the obvious. Cliche niggas from colleges rambling about their consciousness. If you ask me, that's exactly what the problem is. Politics and probably wanna crack a nigga starting shit. I never beg for pardon, just a part of Lions Mafia, the horrifying, rotten, writing revolution army, bruh. It's a struggle with a C or a K. Social work on the way. You children better behave. And all the Christians want to know if I'm 5%ing. And 5%ers want to know if I'm rocking with them. And the Hindus want to know which past life is the beginning. And I'm just shrugging my shoulders like, my nigga, what's the difference? Still mass murder. I'm that Turner on that Geo. Who's lying? Kill a lion. Wear his body like a snuggie. Hot fresh hemoglobin. Warm the skin of a druggie. And all these fuckers place around me all pretending they love me. Still any means necessary. Even if it means getting buried. Even if it means getting carried by your closest friends rocking gloves at the cemetery. It's gonna get ugly, New Malcolm X. By any means, I learned from what I seen, had a dream. Till it turned to a nightmare. Martin Luther the King without the Queen. Inspiration like you're late somewhere on vacation. Your whole crew zombie. The nation is strictly observation. So why bait you? Infliction with my nature proceeds and extends like the makers. Won't have to primate your height and states emergencies against the wall, hitting your knees. Somehow it reached us. I know I was walking eager. Something awful lies between us. Properly a siren screaming. Sky was falling through my fingers. But you see all of these bombs playing hopscotch so close next to you and me. It kind of got me thinking, what is life but chugging ether and loving people? And I know it's hard for you to see. When I say you, I'm scared. I'm really just talking to me. I'd rather change the subject. Holidays and love sweats and great sex caused the cardiac arrest. And to make it this far, we done hobbled and stepped. I done lost a few queens for these here rap checks. You follow and press. I'm in the jungles with hacksaws, pushing the caravan in land for actual ropes, holding my nuts on the cavernous as a lantern, scrambling for the light inside your eyes with a fist of mud. Spent my little yearly earnings on the trip to the Nile and send me in rear searching for the real plug. Pray the stitching cord extend to Adamsville, where shit body solid as a willow in a windstorm. Man in the cannons, handing them death slips, Lord. Way before my time, feeling like a stillborn. Under pressure like Freddie, and God bless you if you find yourself sleepwalking in on our session, or find yourself late sneaking in on God's lesson like you got your homework. Couldn't get the last question. Excuse me, miss. So you got your homework. Couldn't crack the last question. Ma'am, so you did your homework. I couldn't get the last question. Damn. Man, please help me out.
New Malcolm X. By any means, I learned from what I seen. Had a dream till it turned to a nightmare. Martin Luther the King without a queen, I mean.
Because the white man destroyed your and my past, destroyed our knowledge of our culture. And by having destroyed it, now we don't know we have any achievement, any accomplishment. And as long as you can be convinced that you never did anything, you can never do anything.
Now. They try and do the game, but we scoring now. Yeah, come on. Yeah. I'll show you how I see it. It's always true for the God if you can reach it. Stretch your hands high in the air, then peace it. When I see my brothers, I say peace to the God. My sisters is my wisdom and my seeds are the stars. It's written in the pyramids, know who you are. Some will never subscribe to the nature we of. We were born from the heavens above. Kuma altar bar, the reflection of us, but their perception of us is that we ain't even human enough. They so ignorant, they call me bored. When they get me on my own land, already self-employed. They didn't see that though, then they cast false witness. Since then, yo, and they chained us by the throats and loaded us on their boats and taught us how to lie, rob, kill, and sell coke. But that came to pass, and we found better ways for us to get that cash. Then we made hip-hop from the palm of the hand. Niggas in the hood on the corners contributed
African
to that.
blood, African origin, African culture, African time. And you'd be surprised to discover that deep within the subconscious of the black man in this country, he's still more African than he's American.
Tell me, what did you bring to make the world vibe and recognize one thing? Or to teach the ghetto youth to be wise and in tune with the stars, sun, and moon from a one-bedroom? Who gave them the truth when you left them to lose? Made them believe in themselves when they was sick with the blues. They souls started stirring and they knew what to do. Then they made some hip-hop, now we eating the food. Respect the seed, we just a part of the tree. We stand here today because our roots run deep. And even though we run around like it's sweet, never forget how your family members got beat. They only left us coke, left guns in the hood, they left us broke. Put nooses round our throats until we started to choke. Then wet us up with their hoses cause we wanted to vote. But that came to pass, and we strive diligent so we can still surpass. So hold your hands high because we free at last. It was Martin Luther King who contributed to that. This is how we made hip-hop. 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 Word be born, word to my next newborn. Blessed thou upon this earth which we walk upon. I atone for anything I done wrong. I bow my head, now I'ma proceed on. I gotta call it how I see it. If something ain't right in the air, I'm gonna peep it. Ever since you and my peoples had meetings, we the ones who's always got the end of the stick. Not because your academics or your mentals was quick, but you told a bunch of lies and your perceptions was sick. We the ones who gave you food when you were lost in your shit, and gave you natural medicines to heal you when you were sick. We gave you diamonds and gold, wealth untold land for you to have your own. But you chose to kill us off and overtake our throne and strip us of the knowledges that we always known. But that came to pass, and now I see my brothers trying to stay on track. So put your fist high and add some power to that. It was Malcolm X who contributed to that. We do it. This is how we made it. This is how we
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. The air date of this episode is May 19th, 2026. Malcolm X would have been 101 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and this is definitely a man that they are trying to erase from our history, is because we're trying to post a link to this episode, okay, and it's being blocked. Okay, but we're not surprised, okay? And the reason being is because as long as we got some moist shit up here, some alphabetized agenda shit, then we're okay. But as soon as we start talking about one of our greatest icons, we get shadow banned.
About one of the most pervasive beliefs in the general society about the Nation of Islam.
Talking to you like talking to myself, cause there ain't no getting through to you at all. And I've been teaching since I came to jail. I tried to reach out to you, but it was to no avail. Guess it ain't nothing else to do when we got up. We hard now beefing like we never knew each other. Talk about poop, no beef, became my life now. I'm sipping Bellini, living that lifestyle.
And that is that it is an organization dedicated to the use of violent means to attain its goals. The question I have is, how true is this? And why do you think it persists in society?
Pistols, I put my mic down. I almost lost my life there. They trying to put the bikes up and the gun down. S was trying to buy a bike and he got gunned down. S was trying to change his life but he got burnt down. S went around with no pipe so he got gunned down. Listen, do as I say, do as I do. And I ain't not looking good for you.
Have never been guilty of initiating any aggressive acts of violence. 33 years or more.
If I weren't rich, you wouldn't be pulling up to my funeral. First they kick you, hugging you, they suing you. If it was me, it was you, I'm wondering what you would do. I just pulled up on your mama, homie, she beautiful. Yeah, gotta keep the scrap, can't let you let y'all on me. I got married to the game, she be racks all on me. Now I got diamonds on my ring, look like a matrimony. First you screaming my name, then fall a lawsuit on me. You'll hate to see me reach my full potential. You want me robbing, popping mileage, popping pistol. I'm going to college, cut to the youngest, I'm influential. Thought it was Congress, they ain't know this was the presidential. They ain't know that I was into. You trying to change your life, but they won't let you. I know they know I'm special, why they playing with you? You dropping jewels, I'm dropping jewels, you see the difference. Dropping jewels for your dog, they don't appreciate it. Everybody gonna say you fake. Like Maybach 15, so you don't notice me. When money burn the fan, you can't even roll the piece. Just all the pain that I went through had to be the recipe. I still talk it all, bro, like the best of me. Hey yo, this twist on charges, that ain't my destiny. Every time I say it, I stood on it, I got integrity. I put my hood on it, I bring the chest with me. You need security by your face, you can rest in peace.
Charge against that actually stems from the guilt complex that exists in the conscious and subconscious minds of most white people in this country. They know that they've been violent in their brutality against Negroes, and they feel someday the Negro is going to wake up and try and do unto them as they have done to do unto the whites as the whites have done unto us.
Yeah, too bad Malcolm X did not live.
I remember as a kid with Malcolm X, this is what I recall. Malcolm X looked at the problems of discrimination of all people. Since Malcolm X civil rights movement to fight whoever gets in our way. All need to think the way I think.
By any means necessary.
There's a difference between the civil rights movement and the Black empowerment era.
Excuse me.
Big difference.
Do you promote violence?
No, I do not.
What is your name?
Genesis the Ruckus.
Are you anti-white?
Are you anti-white?
Do you think like Malcolm X?
I think like Malcolm X by any means necessary.
Okay, thank you for your time.
We gotta move.
I think like Malcolm X. I think like Malcolm X. By any means necessary.
necessary. Martin Luther, I got a dream. I got a dream. I got a dream. Yeah. I think like Malcolm X. I think like Malcolm X. By any means necessary. Martin Luther, I got a dream. I got a dream. I got a dream. Yeah. I think like Malcolm X. I think like Malcolm X. By any means necessary. Ruckus energetic, he'll tell you about politics here to make you mimic and work for liberty. That's their final fantasy. Still fighting democracy, not anarchy. For the right to bear arms and defend mine. My city's filled with crime, a hard grind, doing it for the children. Let's take paparazzi for instance. That's devil's work, cause it says in the Bible not to worship idols. A little love, that's all. What's freedom to find out? New millennium, all lies, brain cry, and awful is the money that you stole from the people. May your voice moving back now. This thing better stop, not now, but right now. Cause all I see is more than they Hitler's. Listen to the viewers, he sees in the media, bad press. Learned that when I read Malcolm X. Democrat like Obama, no Republican, nor conservative. My people need jobs, not casinos. Casino. Yeah! Rock this. Like Malcolm X. I think like Malcolm X. By any means necessary. Martin Luther, I got a dream. I got a dream. I got a dream. Yeah! I think like Malcolm X. I think like Malcolm X. By any means necessary. Martin Luther, I got a dream. I got a dream. I got a dream. Yeah! I think like Malcolm X. I think like Malcolm X. By any means necessary. Martin Luther, I got a dream. I got a dream. Yeah! I think like Malcolm X. I think like Malcolm X. By any means necessary. Martin Luther, I got a dream. I got a dream. I got a dream. Yeah! Bang, bang. Bang, bang. With Malcolm X, by any means necessary. Malcolm X, by any means necessary.
Before I get involved in anything nowadays, I have to straighten out my own position. And which is clear, I am not a racist in any form whatsoever. I don't believe in any form of racism. I don't believe in any form of discrimination or segregation. I believe in Islam. I'm a Muslim. And there's nothing wrong with being a Muslim. Nothing wrong with the religion of Islam. That just teaches us to believe in Allah as the God. And those of you who are Christians probably believe in the same God. Because I think you believe in the God who created the universe, and that's the one we believe in, the one who created the universe. The only difference being, you call him God, and we call him Allah. Jews call him Jehovah. If you could understand Hebrew, you probably call him Jehovah too. If you can understand Arabic, you probably call him Allah. But since the white man, your friend, took your language away from you during slavery, the only language you know is his language, your friend's language. So you call for the same God he calls for. When he's putting a rope around your neck, you call for God, he calls for God. And you wonder why the one you call on never answers you. And, and so when I got over there, I went to Mecca and saw these people who blonde and blue-eyed and pale skin and all those things. I said, well, but I watched them closely and I noticed that there was, though they were white and they would call themselves white, there was a difference between them and the white one over here. And that basic difference was this. In Asia or the Arab world or in Africa, where the Muslims are, if you find one who says he's white, all he's doing is using an adjective to describe something that's incidental about him, one of his incidental characteristics. So there's nothing else to it, he's just white. But when you get the white man over here in America and he says he's white, he means something else. You can listen to the sound of his voice when he says he's white. He means he's boss. That's right. That's what white means in this language. You know the expression free, white, and 21. He made that up. He's letting you know all of them mean the same. White means free, boss. He's up there. So that when he says he's white, he has a little different sound in his voice. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Despite the fact that I saw that Islam was a religion of brotherhood, I also had to face reality. And when I got back into this American society, I'm not in a society that practices brotherhood. I'm in a society that might preach it on Sunday, but they don't practice it on no day, on any day. And so since I could see that America itself is a society where there is no brotherhood, and that this society is controlled primarily by racists and segregationists, and it is, this is a society whose government doesn't hesitate to inflict the most brutal form of punishment and oppression upon dark-skinned people all over the world. To wit, right now, what's going on in and around Saigon and Hanoi, and in the Congo and in elsewhere. They are violent when their interests are at stake. But all that violence that they display at the international level, when you and I want just a little bit of freedom, we're supposed to be nonviolent. They're violent. They're violent in Korea, they're violent in Germany, they're violent in the South Pacific, they're violent in Cuba, they're violent wherever they go. But when it comes time for you and me to protect ourselves against lynchings, they tell us to be nonviolent. We should defend ourselves. And when I say we should defend ourselves against the violence of others, they use their press skillfully to make the world think that I'm calling on violent spirit. And I wouldn't call on anybody to be violent without a cause. But I think the black man in this country, above and beyond people all over the world, will be more justified when he stands up and starts to protect himself, no matter how many necks he has to break and heads he has to crack. I saw in the paper where on the television where they took this black woman down in Selma, Alabama, and knocked her right down on the ground, dragging her down the street. You saw it. You trying to pretend like you didn't see it because you knew you should have done something about it and did it. It showed the sheriff and his henchmen throwing this black woman on the ground, and Negro men standing around doing nothing about it, saying, well, let's overcome them with our capacity to love. What kind of phrase is that? Overcome them with our capacity to love. And then it disgraces the rest of us because all over the world, the picture is flashed showing a black woman with some white brutes with their knees on her, holding her down, and full-grown black men standing around watching it. Why, you are lucky they let you stay on earth, much less stay in the country. When I saw it, I dispatched a wire to Rockwell. Rockwell was one of the agitators down there. Rockwell, this Lincoln Rockwell. And the wire said, in essence, that this is to warn him that I am no longer held in check from fighting white supremacists by Elijah Muhammad's separatist black Muslim movement, and that if Rockwell's presence in Alabama causes harm to come to Dr. King or any other black person in Alabama who's doing nothing other than trying to enjoy their rights, then Rockwell and his Ku Klux friend would be met with maximum retaliation from those of us who are not handcuffed by this nonviolent philosophy. And I haven't heard from Rockwell since. And brothers and sisters, if you and I would just realize that once we learn to talk the language that they understand, they will then get the point. You can never reach a man if you don't speak his language. If a man speaks the language of brute force, you can't come to him with peace. Why, good night. He'll break you in two, as he has been doing all along. If a man speaks French, you can't speak to him in German. If he speaks Swahili, you can't communicate with him in Chinese. You have to find out, what does this man speak? And once you know his language, learn how to speak his language. And he'll get the point. There'll be some dialogue, some communication, and some understanding will be developed. And you've been in this country long enough to know the language the Klan speaks. They only know one language. And what you and I have to start doing in 1965, I mean, that's what you have to do, because most of us already been doing it, is start learning a new language. Learn the language that they understand. And then when they come up on our doorstep to talk, we can talk. And they will get the point. There'll be a dialogue. There'll be some communication. And I'm quite certain there will then be some understanding. Why? Because the Klan is a cowardly outfit. They have perfected the art of making Negroes be afraid. And as long as the Negroes are afraid, the Klan is safe. But the Klan itself is coward. They never come, one of them never come after one of you. They all come together. Sure, they're scared of it. And you sit there when they're putting the rope around your neck saying, forgive them, Lord, they know not what they do. As long as they've been doing it, they're experts at it. They know what they're doing. No, since the federal government has shown that it isn't going to do anything about it, but talk, then it is a duty. It's your and my duty as men, as human beings. It's our duty to our people to organize ourselves and let the government know that if they don't stop that Klan, we'll stop it ourselves. And then you'll see the government start doing something about it. But don't ever think that they're going to do it just on some kind of morality basis. No. We only need vigorous action in self-defense. And that vigorous action, we feel we're justified in initiating by any means necessary.
All right. Okay. And as we all do know, is that okay. All right.
Born in the fire where the hatred ran deep. A house in the night, no chance for sleep. Windows shattered by a well-gone cold. A child learned early how the truth unfolds. Father preaching loud, but they silence his cry. Mama broke slowly while the system walked by. From Nebraska roads to the city's despair. A young soul lost in a world unfair. They tried to write his story in chains and lies, but a storm was building behind his eyes.
By any means, he rose from the flame, turned pain into power, rewrote his name. From the dark to the light, he caught his way. Spoke truth so loud, they couldn't look away. By any means, yeah, he stood up tall for the voiceless hearts and the broken cause. Even if the world tried to bring him down, he wore his strength
struggle like a crown. Street life calling, fast money dreams, zoot suit shining under neon beams, running from shadows, chasing a high, but every road felt like a dead-end sky. Locked behind steel, but his mind broke free. Found truth in words, found identity. Pages turned like a brand new start, rebuilt his soul, rewired his heart. From prison walls to a higher ground, he found a voice that would shake the sound. By any means, he rose from the flame, turned pain into power, rewrote his name. From the dark to the light, he carved his way. Spoke truth so loud they couldn't look away. By any means, yeah, he stood up tall for the voiceless hearts and the broken souls. Even if the world tried to bring him down, he wore his struggle like a crown. He walked through fire, through faith and doubt, spoke for the people, they counted out. A pilgrim's road showed a wider view, different colors, but the pain felt true. Not just anger, but a deeper fight for dignity, justice, equal right. Evolved in truth, never stood the same. Still they feared the man he became. From Harlem streets to a global stage, every word like a turning page. Challenging power, calling it clear. Voice they respected but learned to fear. He knew the cost of the path he chose, still stood firm as the tension rose. February day, shots rang loud, silence fell over a grieving crowd. By any means, his legacy stays, echoes of truth in 1,000 ways. Though they tried to silence his flame, the world still remembers his name. By any means, we carry it on through every fight where justice is gone. He didn't fall, he multiplied in every voice that won't be denied. From ashes to fire, from pain to pride, spirit walks where the brave reside. Not just a man, but a living spark, a light that still cuts through the dark.
Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, friends and enemies. Malcolm X,
no sellout,
Malcolm X,
no sellout,
Malcolm X,
no sellout,
Malcolm X,
no sellout.
white, black, brown, red, yellow, doesn't make a difference how you are. The only thing power respects is power. They take one little word out of what you say, ignore all the rest, then begin to magnify it all over the world to make you look like what you actually are.
Much of what I say might sound like it's stirring up trouble, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. We don't care who likes this or not, as long as we know it's the truth. No, we need either this
Malcolm X.
No sellout.
Malcolm X.
No sellout.
Malcolm X.
No sellout.
Malcolm X.
No sellout. You can't deny that. You may not like my say it, but you can't deny it. If you're afraid to tell the truth, why you don't even deserve freedom.
You can't say that you're not going to have an explosion and you leave the condition. And as long as those explosive ingredients remain, then you're going to have the potential for explosion on your hands. Malcolm X.
No sellout.
Malcolm X.
No sellout.
Malcolm X.
No sellout.
Malcolm X.
No sellout.
I'm not the kind of person who come here to say what you like. I got a plate in front of me, but nothing is on it. Because all of us are sitting at the same table, are all of us diners? I'm not a diner until you let me dine. Then I become a diner. I was in a house last night that was by my own. It isn't something that made me lose confidence in what I'm doing. Brothers and sisters, friends, and I see some enemies.
Yeah, them good when it comes to the flow. Many step up, but we're the ones that you know see. We coming from the under and we making a sound. Frosty Frankiano make the people come around.
This is not a small time thing. Let me tell you about what happened with the phone went.
Let's get deeper to the issue, discuss the text. Talk about the minister, Malcolm X. Started as a hustler, Detroit bred. Grew up red on the street, make bread. Couldn't even read, raised up the nation. Got locked 28, got an education. Released years later, became much greater. Total African, motivator. Showed you how to eat and live by any means. A message in the bottom for the addict and the fiends. Media assassin, seen as a threat. The most gifted speaker on the planet is yet. From Elijah Muhammad to Louis Farrakhan. Not the little, the nation not strong. From the pulpit, speaking like the pastor. Figure of the speech, you're looking at the master.
We want equality by any necessary.
You know the flow is extraordinary down to the text. Let's life, and the guy was Malcolm X. Mine was stronger than a gun unless he needed one. Adapt to all of that before you catch a murder, son. Yeah, I pay homage to a true visionary. Deep vocabulary, by all means necessary. Was the movement so sublime? He traded jail time for knowledge of the mind. Now forevermore suspended in time. From Mecca to Medina, the freedom is elusive. Violence ain't elusive, just the evil men. I pray like all y'all when it's done to Simon. Is what I recommend before you catch death. When the pressure's on your neck and you're gasping for breath, I rip through your soul, generation still aching. Nobody gives you justice, dog, you gotta take it. Kill the man, but never the message. Only fly leader, aggressive with the lesson. More than a order, excellent forever. No words from the podium, whatever, more clever.
Right now, we don't think anybody should have. So some kind of action program should be devised to get us to think that ours might right, that I'm for that kind of action no matter what the action is. I don't think when a man is being criminally treated, that some criminal has the right to tell that man what tactics to use to get the criminal off his back. When a criminal starts misusing, I am going to use whatever is necessary to get that criminal off my back. And what you and I have to let the man know is we are peaceful people. We're loving people. We love everybody who loves us. But we don't love anybody who doesn't love us. We're nonviolent with people who are nonviolent with us. But we are not nonviolent with anyone who is violent with us.
Malcolm Garvey Huey.
Dedicated to all political prisoners.
Their life was like a movie. Study Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Their life was like a movie. I die, I organize. Everything I do's revolutionize. I build what's good for the whole damn hood. Study G's like these. Really think you should. I studied Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Marcia Cody with the Uzi. Listening to Fela Kuti. I'm Ogun with the machete. Especially if it's deadly. Got the Santos for the Hexy to protect me, so respect me. This is heavy, legendary, revolutionary. My wifey, she resurrect me when they thought they had me buried. Took me out the cemetery. Now it's family over every, cause it's all that's necessary to avoid the commissary. I'ma live for you 5, so I stop getting high. If you know, then you recognize it's that black and brown pride. This the power of the mind. RBG, God divine. You can see through the lies if you could read between the lines.
I live, I die, I organize. Everything I do revolutionize. I build what's good for the whole damn hood. Study G's like these, really think you should.
Study Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Study Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey.
Malcolm Garvey Huey, Bunchy Bobby, Pac and Tukey. Sitting by the door so you can say I'm acting spooky. Just like in the movie, son, you better pack your toolie. Niggas switch be acting fruity, you'll be cracking like they pookie. Rather smoke a doobie than be burning and eluding. Bang, bang, pig shooting, we should blame Rudy Julie. Annie for the camera, shine a white and nose candy. Let you banging on the system, you a gangster wearing panties. RBG, my family from the Bronx to Miami. Police cannot stand me, Pacquiao like a Manny. Call me Little Bobby Hutton, cause I'm first to push the button. Rappers don't be saying nothing to the system, we say fuck them. This is for the Honda, Mama C, Mama Akua. All the real OGs, I'm a soldier, cause you told me study Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey, I'm reporting in the duty.
Sticky, icky, yours truly here for duty. Don Davino, M.A. Uno, you know how we drop the jury. This is real, not a movie, not Mickey, Donald, Goofy. I'm a soldier, I avoid a bitch nigga like the Coochie.
Cool face in a hoodie.
Fresh pair of khakis, we can do this like we fam or go to war like the Apaches. For whatever, I stay ready. I learned that in Tallahassee. Baba Tune, they used to school me as a juvie, skipping classes. Never let the system use me. My duty is my passage. Watch the home Army, they don't always show they badges. Keep your family living healthy. Teach your children about their blackness. Teach your wifey how to use the ratchet. This shit is classic. Get your food, clothes, and shelter. Fuck the system, pimp it backwards. I ain't hating. I'm just saying, if you wanna be a rapper, study
Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey, study Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey, study Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey, study Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey.
A tactical approach is designed to get the
Brother Che, what's going on? Okay.
What do you think about
Yeah. They skewing this episode on purpose, man.
What did you think about what I played?
Oh no, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And also too, if we can get a little bit of his speech he gave in 1962 in Los Angeles, if you got it.
I have all that in a loop. I have all of that in a loop.
Oh, okay. All righty. Okay. And then I was saying in the chat, okay. I honestly believe that Malcolm would have lived, let's say, man, to 1970, right, as opposed to 1965. I think he would have endorsed the Blacc Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army as well, too. But that is just an opinion, you see. Can I see someone that's trying to join us right there? Who is that right there? Okay, all righty. See someone that's trying to join us. Okay, we're waiting for Brother Che to reconnect out of Denver, Colorado. Okay, and Malcolm X would have been 101 years old today. Okay, he was only 39 years old when he died back in 1965, which was a tragedy. But however, off of research that I've done, is that Dr. Huey Percy Newton was inspired by Malcolm X to form the Blacc Panther Party. Okay. Oh, it's Jermaine. Okay. Hey, Jermaine, how you doing? And welcome. And we're talking about Malcolm X. Oh, okay. On his 101st birthday. Okay. I guess Brother Che get back with us in a minute. So therefore, it's very, very essential for those after my generation to note this man's contribution to our history. And then there was a book that was written by a guy by the name of James H. Cone called Malcolm, Martin, and America. Okay. It's a good read, it really talks about Dr. King and his kitchen experience, where he had just finished dinner, and he was by himself in the kitchen. Oh, there's Brother Che. Yeah.
Did you do the introduction, Shabaka?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. The air date of this episode is May 19th, 2026. This is season 11, episode 40, Malcolm X edition of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Okay, so as we all know, the minister would have been 101 years old today. And as I was stating, is that too bad Malcolm did not live through the Black empowerment era, although he was at the very, very tip of it. you say, is because Dr. Huey P. Newton was influenced by Malcolm, which inspired him, the Forte brothers, little Bobby Hutton, Bobby Seale, and Big Man, to form the Blacc Panther Party with point number 7. We want to meet it in to police brutality. Also, too, as we do know, when Malcolm X spoke in 1962 in Los Angeles.
Right. I got that speech, Shabaka. We got to do this right. We got to do this thing right. So thank y'all for tuning in to season 11, episode 40, Malcolm X edition of Shabakas, Black Experience Enhanced in conjunction with the Frontline Black News. Today, as Shabaka's already alluded to, is May 19th, 2026, which would have been the 101st birthday or birthday or C-Day of the late, great revolutionary Black nationalist Malcolm X. Malcolm X music tribute honoring Malcolm X Day 2026. Malcolm X biography. Malcolm X, the house nigga in the field Negro.
Right.
Malcolm X, Los Angeles, May 5th, 1962. Who taught you to hate yourself? Malcolm X's powerful message to the grassroots. Unveiling the house Negro and the field Negro divide. And several of his other famous speeches. And Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced is based off the 50th anniversary of the founding of the original Blacc Panther Party for self-defense. It started on Blogtalk Radio back in 2016, and we've been around for 11 seasons now. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced covers the Black experience from the beginning of time until 10 minutes ago. It's also a part of the Frontline campaign and has recently, within the last 2 years, moved from Blogtalk Radio to Streamyard. Please make sure y'all like and share the broadcast, family. Please join us on Streamyard, YouTube, Frontline Black News. The links to all of our channels are in the description, including Frontline Black News, Frontline Black News 2, our backup channel. Make sure y'all sub to that. My personal page, just a parasite to A-Chain Kruma. That's our stream our city council meetings here in Denver and Aurora and community events. Then we got Lady Chase backup channel, Seduction Doll. What are you at now, Seduction Doll? Are you at 50 subscribers yet? We got Seduction Doll YouTube channel. And then we got her main channel, The Revolutionary Agenda. Make sure sub to that. She should be at 80. Let's get her to 100 subscribers. And then we got Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced, our YouTube channel, Jeanette 1. And we got our cousin, our local out the Bay Area, Jay Militant, was cracking TV with Jay Militant. So sub to this channel. And then we got Kool Keezy, 5100 out the Bell side, Marbella. And the FBA Culture Reports. Subscribe to him as well. I think he's about 500 subscribers tonight. Then we got our brother Breeze Omega, who was out to VA, Virginia. That was a day or so ago. We was chopping it up. Salute to Breeze. He just surpassed 1,000 subscribers. And then we got our brother Church of Black Power out of Watts, California, the Jordan Downs, to see exact. And he is now in Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. And he just surpassed 3,000 subscribers. Then we got our brother Torian Reloaded, who's sitting about 77,000 subscribers. And he's been around for a good decade, about as long as us, Shabaka. Okay. And he shows us love, so we show him love back.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Salute to him. Let's get him to 80. Then we got our brother Black Truth United, who was on hiatus, but I guess he's back doing videos again. But he came up with the B1 Rolodex, which is a modern-day green book for FBA and B1 businesses. So the links to submit your business to the Rolodex itself is in the description. Then we got Council of the Congressional Black Caucus and create a foundational Black American Caucus. The link to that is also in the description.
Absolutely. And then, man, looking at, I'm sorry, Che, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The call to action, our sister Brooke in New York, make sure y'all submit them letters and them emails so they can get that Freemansboro off the ground in New York State and get them reparations directly cash payment checks out to the Denver, the New York Freeman. Then we got Lady Chase GoFundMe, donate to that if you haven't already. Then we got our brother who's a hero, Josh, and the family after shooting from Dalton, aka Chut the Bussy. His GoFundMe link is in the our brother Josh, not Chut the Bussy. Then we got me running for office, City Council at Large, or not City Council at Large, House of Representatives for House District 8, and the link to the website is in the description. And then we got copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And I do not own the rights to the music. And if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you in all 9 areas of human and people activity. And that is economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And some say health and nutrition. In all 9 or 10 areas of human and people activity. And that was by Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., who transitioned exactly a year ago, a little over a year ago, at the age of 95.
Full life.
Salute to him. And ProduceJustice.com. And when you a black person are captured by any race soldier, you must never fuss, fight, or flee. Comply and defend yourself in court. Also by Neely Fuller Jr., Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. ProduceJustice.com. And last but not least, we got racism, white supremacy is conscious and subconscious behavior to maintain white genetic survival, to prevent white genetic annihilation. And that was by the late great Master Dr. Francis Chris Wilson, who transitioned exactly 10 years ago at the age of 80 and would have been 90 as of a month ago. And salute to FBA brother Tariq Nasheed for paying for her funeral, along with several others. So those are the topics. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
Okay, and then also too, ladies and gentlemen, I want to mention a note. If you saw the movie Malcolm X with Denzel Washington, and the scene there where they went to get justice for Brother Johnson, who was beat up by the New York City Police Department. Okay, Malcolm X really did do that. Okay, and them policy enforcers stated, quote unquote, that was too much power for one man to have. You see, and then Denzel got an Oscar for the role. Yes, Malcolm X did go up there and talk about that they are brothers of Brother Johnson, and they wanted to see Brother Johnson Hinton, who was battered by the New York City Police Department for selling the newspapers of Muhammad Speaks. Also, too, as we all know, about 2 years before he won the title, and we all know who he is. His name goes without saying, the greatest heavyweight of all time. The fist goes up on my page, about him, and then one of the Bisco's going to say that Ali was a coward because he was a draft dodger. And I just simply told him Nabisco was. I'm sure you telling that to all the white boys who were burning their draft cards and going to Canada. And then I went on and blocked them because it was, what do you call that, Brother Che? Where they try to bait you to tear down your page. You know what I mean? They say
race bait. They call it race bait.
Yeah, because I think you and Sister Akshita had told me that as well, too. So therefore, after I insult them, I block.
Oh, shit, we got Cuzzo in the building. Cuzzo in the building. Jay Miller's in the building.
What's up with you, man? How you be, Jay Militant? Okay. And then and then we got Brother Jermaine from Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
okay.
tapping in. You gotta give us an update on what the hell's happening on there.
Okay,
Yes,
can
sir.
y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
okay, I got some big updates right now. Oh, I ain't been on this thing
Okay,
in a
make them
minute.
quick because I got some more clips to play. So get it out while you can.
Okay, I'll make it as quick as I can. Okay. Well, first, we had multiple substitute teachers was busted today, for misappropriation of funds. So, which means these bastards were stealing the money, and they must have got them right after the school year ended or something.
Oh yeah, I know. Good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cuz he got his X shirt on. He got his Malcolm X shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. What are your thoughts on Malcolm X?
I think Malcolm X would have lived. I feel he would have lived, but they said he betrayed. From what I don't know, I guess through history, they said he betrayed the.
We got Dr. Truth Bay in the building. Oh snap! It's a party tonight.
Dr. Bay.
Dr. Truth.
Yeah, they say he betrayed the nation of Islam. I mean, it was so many people.
How you doing, Dr. Bay?
Oh,
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. All right, but one thing though, I will say this here to the generations after me. When I was 3 years old and I saw Malcolm X.
I was gonna play it. Yeah, we're gonna play it. We got a lot of shit to
please
play
that. Yeah, please play that. And I did not know of way back then how that was still having an effect on me to this day. Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the texture of your hair?
I got that speech lined up, Shabaka. But first, we got to hear Professor Blacc Truth take on the day.
Okay.
Lady Tay says hi, Dr. Truth Bay.
Greetings, family. How's it going?
Greetings.
Okay, there's Dr. Bay. It's always a pleasure, interacting with you, Dr. Bay. And yes, ma'am, Dr. Bay. Yeah.
Yes, family.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
So today is a day of celebration, huh? Malcolm X.
Oh, yes, ma'am. It most certainly is. You know what I'm saying? Without a doubt. And for all you, how should we say, how can I be politically correct on this here, Brother Che? You other groups, okay? Remember that Malcolm is ours. Yeah, you OTBs, remember that Malcolm is ours, not yours. Okay. And also, too, as we do know, there was Malcolm
now
X.
we got Black Joe in the building. Salute, cuz. Happy Malcolm X.
Hey, Joe. Okay. All right. And then also, too, as you do know, Malcolm was the one that brought in the heavyweight champion into the NOI. You know what I mean? And we did clips on Mrs. Ali. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And what have you. See, Black family, we come from a very, very dynamic history. Our history on this planet is the most dynamic in the history of mankind.
Our history on any of these continents. Every last one of them, all 7 or 6 of them, because Europe is not really a continent. It's too small and barren to be a continent.
Exactly. And then and we're looking for our idiot Regal. And Regal, you might as well stay out.
They gotta subscribe. They gotta subscribe. Shout out to the viewers that got us over 500.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. And then Betty Shabakas. Yes, Lord. Betty Shabakas, Joe.
You left at the wrong time. Right after you got off, we got in the algorithm, and we got over 500 subscribers now.
Okay, that's good. Okay, and then on top of it as well, too. Now, to you other groups of people, okay, who are not Black, okay, I'm going to say it, and I stand on this. The Black experience is not your experience. Because if you other groups went through the hell that we have been going through and are going through, you people would have folded.
Yeah, main character.
Yeah.
We center in Malcolm today. we're centering Malcolm today because it's all on Malcolm today. Everything's about Malcolm today.
And then also too, Dr. Bay, I don't know if I told you, but the speech he gave in Los Angeles.
I was directing that Black Joe, not you, Dr. Bay. I was directed at Black Joe.
Okay. And then also too, Dr. Bay, you know, I saw Malcolm speak May 2nd, 1962 in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I'm going to play the speech about it. Let's get to the professor. The professor had to commemorate this day as well. So we're going to let the professor sound off.
Okay.
And then we're going to play the speech that you've been itching and dying for, Shabaka.
Yes, sir. And keep in mind, Malcolm's birthday is not.
I'm the professor, and this is a moment of truth.
Well, anytime you live in a society supposedly based upon law, and it doesn't enforce its own law because the color of a man's skin happens to be wrong, then I say those people are justified to resort to any means necessary to bring about justice where the government can't give them justice.
Today is May 19th, or as we in the black media call it, the day of Malcolm. Yes, his words from 1964 are every bit as relevant today as they were then, and it just goes to show you the reality of the world that we live in. Now, what Malcolm talked about, the excerpts that were chosen address three things. First, that if black people stand up and fight back, then we would be surprised how many people, even in the dominant society, would actually feel that they should support us. Now, by support, that doesn't mean that they would like the fact that black people are using force in our own defense. But what it does mean is that they would have to reckon with it. When black people stand up and fight back, we make a statement that there's something wrong and that it's of such severity that we have to resort to physical means to stop it. Everybody knows that we're being mistreated. They've known it for the longest time. They depend on it. But as long as we confine our opposition merely to singing, marching, and holding hands, then they can always just brush it off and rationalize it and say, well, the situation can't be that bad. Look at what they're doing. That's why the 2020 uprisings produced results. Marching and chanting was what people had done in the years leading up to the murder of George Floyd. But it wasn't marching and chanting that changed things. What finally made the thugs in blue get regularly arrested, charged, and convicted was when the people began to rise up. See, it's your white liberals and your Negro bootlicks under them who tell you you're going to be losing white support if you decide to actually fight back. And yet whenever we do, that's what gains support. That's because of the fact that nobody respects somebody who just lays down and takes abuse. It was people rising up, laying siege to the police's torture dungeons that they call precincts. That's what brought about changes because they had no choice but to reckon with it. By putting the police and these crooked prosecutors on the run, that was what broke the deadlock in the courts and damaged the racial nullification that these white prosecutors were relying on. Malcolm understood this fact 62 years ago.
I firmly believe in my heart that the day that the black man takes an uncompromising step and realizes that he's within his rights, when his own freedom is being jeopardized, to use any means necessary to bring about his freedom or put a halt to that injustice, I don't think he'll be by himself. I live in America where there are only 22 million blacks against probably 160 million whites. One of the reasons that I'm in no way reluctant or hesitant to do whatever is necessary to see that black people do something to protect themselves, I honestly believe that the day that they do, many whites will have more respect for them and that there will be more whites on their side than are now on their side with these little wishy-washy love thy enemy approach that they've been using up to now.
When you start acting like there's a real problem, you'd be surprised who starts looking at your situation and saying, hey, there might be a problem here. But you don't get that from good twubba. You get that from getting into the enemy's face. Something else that Malcolm talked about, how the U.S. Congress is based on a seniority system and how this is a fundamental problem that reinforces the oppression we face. The seniority system is also at the core of why it is that the government is not even responsive to a number of the white people who depend on it for their daily bread.
Out of the 36 committees that govern the foreign and domestic direction of that government, 23 are in the hands of Southern racialists, men who in no way believe in the equality of man, and men who do anything within their power to see that the black man never gets to the same seat or to the same level that they are on. The reason that these men from that area have that type of power is because America has a seniority system. And these who have that seniority have been there longer than anyone else because the black people in the areas where they live can't vote. And it is only because the black man is deprived of his vote that puts these men in positions of power that gives them such influence in the government beyond their actual intellectual or political ability, or even beyond the number of people from the areas that they represent.
They don't understand it, but we do. The seniority system entrenches people, not based on competence, but based on how long they've been there. The United States is not a democracy. It's a lot of things, but a democracy is not one of them. But among the fascism and the ethnocracy that it is also a gerontocracy. Gerontocracy means the rule of the eldest, and not just a little bit older than the general population, people who are at least a generation older than the general population. This is done by design. The people with the most antiquated mentality, the people who are only good for collecting their bribes and doing as their paymasters say, old people are not about change. They're just about maintaining the status quo until they make it to the grave. Just look at Joe Biden, mentored by Southern segregationists. That's who mentored him when he was a young racist on Capitol Hill back in the late 60s. And how did Biden turn out? He never changed. He remained the same reprobate racist until he was just this wrinkled up bigot in the White House. They say there's no fool like an old fool. Well, Malcolm proved that he was never one to suffer any fool gladly, no matter what their age.
That any time you have a country, supposedly a democracy, and it can't enforce laws, even in the northernmost cosmopolitan and progressive part of it, that will benefit a black man, if those laws can't be enforced or that law can't be enforced, how much heart do you think we will get when they pass some civil rights legislation which only involves more laws? If they can't enforce this law, they'll never enforce those laws.
Malcolm also said that the problem isn't that the right laws haven't been written or that the right laws aren't on the books. That's the same lie that they told about qualified immunity. They run that game to see if black people are going to be silly enough to fall for it. Malcolm knew better. Even after the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, you still had the mess going on in New Bern, Alabama, where the state enshrined white misrule since the 1960s, and successive administrations of Democrats and Republicans alike totally ignored that and did absolutely nothing about it. They wouldn't even acknowledge that it existed. Black people had to solve that problem on our own. And when you look at the signature legislation of the 1960s, you see the same pattern. None of that was the result of these Democrats. It was the result of black activists. Don't ever let anyone take your credit from you. Because when you allow somebody else to take credit for what you do, what that also means is they got you looking to them for what happens next. And if there's one thing that we should have learned from the post-civil rights period, it's that when you look to your oppressors for what comes next, the answer will be nothing. We allow the white media to lie and give credit to white politicians who were the main ones these black activists were fighting against. Malcolm warned you not to do that. The issues that we're dealing with, even now, Malcolm was calling it out decades ago. And before anyone says, but we did get the rights to vote, as a wise man once said, it means very little when black people in the South cannot vote and black people in the North have no one to vote for. Unless there's a candidate dedicated to your interest, then a ballot isn't power at all. The only thing it's good for is to let you choose which political prostitute is going to ignore you. Malcolm spelled out the rigged political charade of controlled opposition that comes from the so-called left. At no point did Brother Malcolm say anything about voting Republican or voting Democrat. He recognized that they're both on the same side against us. What he talked about was black representation. Unless that's on the ballot, it's a waste of time. Malcolm also talked about the need for self-defense. Now, to the best of my knowledge, Brother Malcolm wasn't a handyman, but he always carried his power tools. And he didn't ask anyone's permission for that one either. And he didn't care who that made uncomfortable. That's a lesson that black people failed to learn from Malcolm. He explained time and again that what makes people comfortable and what makes you powerful are usually opposites. And only a fool sacrifices their power for somebody else's comfort, especially people who are oppressing them. This is why the white media hated him. They ran a nonstop smear campaign against him even after he died. The white media tried to assassinate his character long before the white authorities assassinated him physically. And no, we're not silly enough to believe the official cover story that the white government fabricated. We think and act for ourselves, as he taught us to. We don't let the white media liars tell us who we are or who our heroes are or who we as foundational Black Americans are supposed to respect. They use their media to try to manipulate you.
A society which in 1964 has more subtle, deceptive, deceitful methods to make the rest of the world think that it's cleaning up its house, while at the same time the same things are happening to us in 1964 that happened in 1954, 1924, and in 1984. They came up with what they call a Civil Rights Bill in 1964, supposedly to solve our problem, and after the bill was signed, 3 civil rights workers were murdered in cold blood. And the FBI head, Hoover, admits that they know who did it. They've known ever since it happened, and they've done nothing about it.
Part of that is to attack certain individuals so as to make it socially unacceptable for you to revere them. That's a form of mind control. Well, we're not trying to win some popularity contest with the dominant society any more than Malcolm was. Oh, we know all about mind control, all right. We control our minds. Corrupt systems don't give those they oppress the means to stop their oppression. That's the entire point of an oppressive system. It's a cage, one that's supposed to leave you no way out. Well, here's a clue. You don't ask permission to leave it, and you don't let them tell you what your options are. You make your own. We celebrate and venerate our heroes, who we choose on the days we choose. We don't ask, nor do we care what anyone else thinks. Juneteenth is our holiday, but white power is trying to co-opt it, the same as they did with Dr. King. They were fine with the holiday for him, more or less, so long as they got to lie about him and invent a phony baloney, non-threatening caricature of Dr. King that didn't truly exist. One that they could use and point and say, see, Dr. King wasn't trying to rock the boat. He wants you to love your enemies, not fight them. And for a while, at least until the Black media came along, that distortion of Dr. King is what his image was perverted into. But now we're making it a point to remind you why they killed him, who the real Dr. King was. We don't show you a few select fragments from a dream. We show you the reality. We show you what his agenda was, to end white supremacy and to empower his people. And Malcolm was no different. Don't let the white media give you some lie that these men were somehow enemies. They were not. These men understood exactly what they were about. They differed as far as their tactics went, but the goal was exactly the same. And white supremacy's response to it was exactly the same. Malcolm's message was more direct, but no less frightening than Dr. King's. Recognizing our icons on our own terms is just like any other form of power. You don't ask your enemy for their approval. You ignore their objections and you just do what you gotta do. The essential selfishness of survival, as Dr. John Henrik Clarke called it. And now it's the essential selfishness of empowerment. So, family, today, make sure you devote some time to remembering our shining prince. Listen to some of his wisdom and make sure you turn up the volume so that the white supremacists within earshot hear it. And when the enemy asks you, why do you hate us? You tell them, because a good man once taught us to know the difference between an angel and a devil.
I have more respect for a man who lets me know where he stands, even if he's wrong, than the one who comes up like an angel and is nothing but a devil.
I definitely agree with that. Also, too, Brother Che. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. This is the speech I was at. I was 2 years old, just a tiny tot. Not realizing the history I was seeing.
What are your thoughts on the previous video?
Oh, it was excellent as always. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly believe that Malcolm would have been against the tethers, too, Brother Che, on the continent and abroad. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. You know, I'll go to the casino and put my last $50 on that one. You know, but the thing is, though, Black family, you know, as the older you get, you know, any significant events in our people's history, please note them down. Write a diary on it. Put a log on it. You know what I'm saying? Shelve it. So when you make your appointment, you know, the ultimate appointment that is, and don't nobody know what time the appointment is, but you will not be late. it's imperative you save it for the next generations. You see what I'm saying? You know, it's imperative. And then, like when Denzel Washington portrayed Malcolm, okay, they're going to give Denzel an Oscar for playing a rogue cop as opposed to playing one of our greatest icons, not so much for us in the diaspora, but throughout the world. Also, too, I want to make a note of this here. Angela Bassett, Denzel Washington, they're being censored because they don't believe in that transgender stuff. You know, so I'm just putting that out there, Brother Jay. You might want to put that there up there for the next presentation. But it's always a pleasure. But people, I'm going to tell you, we need some help for this podcast. I ain't lying, you know, because I'm thoroughly exhausted. You see what I mean? And any products that you want to advertise, we'll be happy to mention them, you know, in return for your donation. You know what I mean?
Lady Shay, you got something to say?
No, it's right though.
Yeah.
What Professor Black Truth said, yeah. Dr. Truthberry, what are your thoughts? Dr. Brand.
Well, he was speaking truth to power, and one of the things that I realized, I mean, there's so many stories of Malcolm X, but one that we'd also forgot is where he came from.
Mm-hmm.
His father was a big portion, a member of UNIA,
right?
Universal Negro Improvement Association, and so that's where, from birth, Malcolm exhibited the activist mode. Even in his time in prison, he always had that in his genes. So it was inevitable. It was inevitable for him to really make the statement throughout his career that human rights needs to be a law. It's not about civil rights because we don't have it. We are considered property to this day. But yes, so if human rights was a law, a lot of the violations that are continued to be towards us would not exist, would not, well, I wouldn't say they wouldn't try, but there'll be more protections for us as a people. And I think remembering the day, May 19th, is a day of change. Also, yesterday was Haitian Flag Day, and I was a Haitian as well.
Okay.
I wanted to remember the first revolutionaries that fought for their freedom on May 18th. So it's a very important month for us to remember. And I think the month of May should be more of a celebration rather than, you know, Asian Heritage Month. It should be Black Liberation Pan-African Month 2.0. So that's something I think we need to work on.
We have an FBA holiday coming up besides today, and that is Memorial Day. That was created by the Freak.
Yeah, that's next week. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So just keep up the good work and continue to do the work.
Yes, that's what we're gonna do, Dr. Bay. Appreciate you coming on.
All right. Well, grateful to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Bay. And then also, too, ladies and gentlemen, as I stated before, that Brother Chase was emphasizing on this speech that you see right here, May 2nd, 1962, is in Los Angeles. I was there as a tiny tot, and I did not realize of the history that I had witnessed. Who knows? Maybe that's probably why I feel the way that I do. You know, what's that there? You know what I'm saying? And the thing that I distinctively remember was that window right there to Malcolm's left, okay? And it was warm that day. So I'm very, very glad.
It was hot as hell that day.
Yeah, it was. And then the smog was bad in LA too. And I remember my eyes burning, you know. And then, but one thing though too that he did emphasize in his speech, where he said is that we will protect our women and we will kill over our women. You say, now that's great, that's beautiful, but what about the bed wenches? Okay, you know.
Yeah, what about them? And now, what about the tethers? What about the tethers?
Okay, now the tethers, Malcolm would have been against them daggone tethers. That is a fact. You see what I'm saying?
Like we war.
Yeah. Okay. So Black people says they're tribal, we war. Okay, so now that's the problem. Okay, and what had happened is that they just say it's them daggone neo-colonialists that is a main factor into that. Okay, Joe says if foreign Black people stood up for their countries versus ridiculing FBA growth. Okay, but on that there, Joe, as I stated before, you know, you got a lot of outside forces, you know, dealing with that as well too. Just say, so I got to research that, man. You all got me up here with so many notes and notepads, man. It's pathetic, you say.
Yeah, so the moment has arrived for you to reminisce on being 2 years old and witnessing this in real time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. You know. Going on me.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, to whom all praise is due, whom we forever thank for giving us the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as our leader, teacher, and guide. And I specifically, ladies and gentlemen, and brothers and sisters, open up like that because I am a representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And were it not for him, you and I wouldn't be here today. In order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough. We have to get to the cause of it all, or the root of it all. And it is because of our effort toward getting straight to the root that people oftentimes think we're dealing in hate. But first, I would like to congratulate and give praise to the Negro, so-called Negro leaders and so-called Negro organizations. And excuse me if I say so-called, it's hard for me to just outright say Negro when I know what that word Negro really means. The person whom you have come to know as Ronald Stokes, we know him as Brother Ronald, one of the most religious persons who displayed the highest form of morals of any black person anywhere on this earth. And as one of the previous speakers pointed out who knew him, everyone who knew him had to give him credit for being a good man, a clean man, an intelligent man, and an innocent man when he was murdered. The Negro, so-called Negro organizations and leaders should be given great credit for their failure or refusal to let the white man divide them and use them one against the other during this crisis. As Reverend Wilfred Wilson pointed out, I think it was 8 years ago today that the Supreme Court handed down the desegregation decision. And despite the fact that 8 years have gone past, that decision hasn't been implemented yet. I don't have that much faith I don't have that much confidence. I don't have that much patience. And I don't have that much ignorance to... If the Supreme Court, which is the highest law-making body in the country, can pass a decision that can't get even 8% compliance within 8 years because it's for black people, then my patience has run out. When black people who are being oppressed become impatient, they say that's emotional. Please. When black people who are being deprived of their citizenship, not only of their civil rights, but their human rights, become impatient, become fed up, don't want to wait any longer, then they say that's emotional. The Negro, so-called Negro leaders and organizations should be praised.
Shabaka.
They should be congratulated. They should be complimented. Yes, because out of all of them combined, the white man has not yet found one who will play the role of Uncle Tom.
All right.
But yet he has found no Tom, no puppet, no parrot who is still dumb enough in 1962 to represent the injustices that he's afflicting against our people. We don't care what your religion is. We don't care what organization you belong to. We don't care how far in school you went or didn't go. We don't care what kind of job you have. We have to give you credit for shocking the white man by not letting him divide you and use you one against the other. In the past, the greatest weapon the white man has had has been his ability to divide and conquer. As Jackie Robinson pointed out beautifully on the television last week, 4/5 of the world isn't white. Isn't that what Jackie said? And if 4/5 of the world is dark, how is it possible for 1/5 to rule, oppress, exploit, dominate, and brutalize the 4/5 who are in the majority? How do they do it? Divide and conquer. If I take my hand and slap you, you don't even feel it. It might sting you because these digits are separated. But all I have to do to put you back in your place is bring those digits together. This is what the white man has done to you and me. He has divided us and used us one against the other. But today, thanks to Allah, you can say thanks to God or thanks to Jesus or thanks to Jehovah, whatever you want. But as a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have been taught to say thanks to Allah. And that's what Jesus said. Jesus called on Allah. He said, Allah, Allah, lama sabachthani. I believe what's good for Jesus is good for you. If Allah was good enough for Jesus to call upon, I think he should be good enough for you to call upon. Since the so-called Negro community has shocked the white man by resisting all efforts to divide us, I think that you and I should continue to shock him by staying and working together in unity. Despite religious, political, economic, or educational or social differences, let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodist. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America. Here, your mother is being raped, and you're not supposed to be emotional. Your women, please, your women can't walk the street without some cracker putting his hands on her, and you're not supposed to be emotional. If you say that you're fed up, if you teach the Negro, they don't even know their own name. Why? Because he took it away from them. Please. 20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you're trying to tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today you are coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading universities. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in. And if somebody tries to take you right to the root of your problem, they say that that man's a hate teacher. If I ask why should the senators in Washington, and then again, if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence. The white man is tricking you. He's trapping you. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in South Vietnam. Please. He doesn't call it violence when he lands troops in Berlin. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said, praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition. But when someone attacks you, when someone comes at you with a club, when someone comes at you with a rope, when someone comes at you with a gun, despite the fact that you've done nothing, he tells you, suffer peacefully. Pray for those who use you despitefully. Be long-suffering. And how long can you suffer after suffering for 400 years? So I just want to clear up that little point right there, because he says that we play on your emotions. And when you turn on your television tonight, or your radio, or read the newspaper, they're going to tell you in that paper that I was playing on your emotions. Imagine you, a second-class citizen. That's not getting emotional, it's getting intelligent. And as far as your mayor is concerned, I see you should say their mayor. A man named York, who has been slandering the Muslims, a professional liar, who has mastered the art of using half-truth.
Yorty was the mayor of Los Angeles before Donald
they broke into our religious place of worship and got records that they can use to prove that most of us have criminal records. You can't be a Negro in America and not have a criminal record. Martin Luther King has been to jail. Clean. James Farmer has been to jail. Why, you can't name a black man in this country who is sick and tired of the hell that he's catching who hasn't been to jail. Charged him with being seditious. They put Moses in jail. They put Daniel in jail. Why, you haven't got a man of God in the Bible that wasn't put to jail when they started speaking out against exploitation and oppression.
They charged Jesus with sedition. Didn't they do that? They said he was against Caesar. They said he was discriminating because he told his disciples, go not the way of the Gentiles, but rather go to the lost sheep. He discriminated. Don't go near the Gentiles, go to the lost sheep. Go to the oppressed. Go to the downtrodden. Go to the exploited. Go to the people who don't know who they are, who are lost from the knowledge of themselves, and who are strangers in a land that is not theirs. Go to those people. Go to the slaves. Go to the second-class citizens. Go to the ones who are suffering the brunt of Caesar's brutality. And if Jesus were here in America today, he wouldn't be going to the white man. The white man is the oppressor. He would be going to the oppressed. He would be going to the humble. He would be going to the lowly. He would be going to the rejected and the despised. He would be going to the so-called American Negro. To have once been a criminal is no disgrace. To remain a criminal is the disgrace. I formerly was a criminal. I formerly was in prison. I'm not ashamed of that. You never can use that over my head. And that he's using the wrong stick. I don't feel that stick.
Okay, here they go. They're jamming us again. Okay, why am I not surprised? Okay, Brother Che, what's happening on your end? Brother Che.
Waiting on Black Joe to unmute.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Yeah, okay. And believe it or not, Black Joe, I was at that speech as a baby, man, as a tiny tot.
Do you know where your parents are sitting?
No. Okay. Where the people are sitting at, Brother Che, they have a balcony up above it, and I was standing in the balcony. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I was looking through like the little wooden bars they got right there, not realizing this history that I'm witnessing right here. See, this is why, I keep emphasizing this here, to the generations after me, you see, and then I also appreciate what he said, that they will kill you over their women, which they will. You see, now, this is the problem I got with these damn bed wenches, okay? Here these men went out here will get killed, defending black women, but you want to go up there and part the Red Sea for a Nabisco. And then, and all you people out there, who's hearing me say this, inbox me with your hatred and your vitriol. You see what I mean?
You see, COG, for me, it don't matter to me who they part they Red Sea for. It's when they bash us for not protecting them from their own decisions. That's the problem.
Okay, now that's a good point. Now, hold on, Joe. Now that is a damn good issue that you brought up right there, because I distinctively remember, man, in downtown Los Angeles, man, oh shit, about 1990, I see this Nabisco cussing out this black woman, right? And I was a little bit more solid than I am now. So, and I wasn't in a good mood, so that ticked me off, and it was hot in LA, but not too much with the smog. So I says, ma'am, do you require any assistance? She called me everything but a child of God, told me to shut the quote unquote, shut the fuck up. This is her husband, and this don't concern you. Gentlemen, I will never make that mistake again. And then for those of you on my like page, you Nabiscos, when you come up to me with your insults, I just delete and block your stupid asses and let you talking to yourselves, because you ain't gonna get that damn page tore down. Oh yeah, they devious. You know what I'm saying? They devious. You see what I mean? Well, Shabaka, we all the same. And you know what I say, Joe? I tell them the Biscuits, come bring your ass out here in the sun with me in the 121 degree temperature in about 30 days. Oh, it'll be nice and right. But you got to leave your sunscreen at home. You know what I'm saying?
The biggest threat to America and pretty much the world is if the black Negro American man start thinking with his meat.
Well, you're right, because it will mislead you. You know what I'm saying? It can mislead you big time. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and then these...
That's 100%.
Oh, absolutely. And then let's look at the Carolyn Bryants. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at the O.J. Simpson case. You see what I mean? You know.
Speaking of that, Mark Farman finally kicked the bucket.
Oh, that's great news. Happy days are here. Happy days are here.
The brother in Texas that came to his female co-worker's aid that was in a domestic that just got killed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, but I'm saying this because it's a history of us protecting them successfully, but there's also a history of us protecting them and dying, protecting them and going to jail. And when we die and go to jail protecting them, there's no only person that cares about that is the person's family who dies, not the person that they died for or went to jail for. So
exactly. And then to give you some more cannon fodder there, Joe, just like this case that happened out here in Las Vegas, man, about what was that there, Brother Che, that we covered
about a week or so ago.
Yeah, about a week or so ago. Do you know, man, that Clark County has got them black men that went there and beat the shit out of that dude who was getting ready to shoot up the store, man. They charging them with crimes. So I'm keeping an eye on it, man, since I'm out here in Nevada, out here in the West, which is my region. So I'm keeping an eye on that. And as that case unfolds, we'll definitely will bring, you know, to the people's attention.
One of the biggest problems with our people, we've been conditioned to be loud about our aggression. If we were a lot more silent about our aggression, it wouldn't be it would be more laws enacted to prevent negative things from happening to us, like hate crime laws and stuff that we've been begging for. Yeah, like can I give an example? Can I give a small example?
Please
do. The cop that smoked Mike Brown, as good as these people are with doxing people for being anti-Meg Thee Stallion or anti-Clay, the dude that cheated on her. If you can dox people addresses for doing that, you couldn't dox that dude's family. Like if his family was like driving to the store and there was like a car accident and they got hurt, it sends a message.
Oh yeah, I feel you.
Keyword accident.
Yeah, exactly.
So they expect us to pull up, rah, flash out, go to jail or die on scene. They don't expect a random act of violence. They don't expect karma to come crashing at them.
All right.
I land.
Okay. All right, Shabaka, we gotta finish the speech up.
Yeah, go ahead, finish the speech. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I went to prison because I believed in men like Sam York. I went to prison because I trusted men like Sam York. I went to prison following the philosophy of men like Sam York. But since I've been following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I have been reformed, and that's more, please. That's more than Sam Yorty and Shabaka and all these other white politicians have been able to do with the inmates in the prisons of this state. They should give Mr. Muhammad credit. They should give Mr. Muhammad credit for reforming and rehabilitating men whom they have failed to reform and rehabilitate.
And those prisons he's talking about is playing putting so bad and false.
Mayor Yorty referred to some press report that Mr. Muhammad had once been found guilty of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. He failed to explain purposely that in 1934, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad refused to send his children to the white schools in Detroit, Michigan that were teaching you about little black Sambo.
Yeah.
That's the minor that he contributed to the delinquency of. You see, this vicious, fork-tongued white man has been able to take lies and make you turn against those who want to help you and make others turn against you. This is the contributing to the delinquency of a minor that this mayor, or man who calls himself mayor, is talking about. In the same article, he said that the Muslims are the same people who rioted in the United Nations. Someone should pull his coat and let him know that at the present moment, there are $6 million worth of suits leveled against two of New York's leading newspapers for making the mistake of charging the Muslims as being involved in those United Nations riots. We were not involved. And if this fork-tongued man who calls himself your mayor had taken the time to find that out, he wouldn't be walking into the trap that he's letting his ignorance lead him into. And if you would take the time to read the Washington Post that came out the Sunday after that incident took place, the Washington Post pointed out on the front page that the Muslims had nothing to do with the UN riots. And they quoted, in saying so, the person who was at that time the commissioner of police in New York City. See, it's lies that the white man has spread about the Muslims to try and make you afraid of the Muslims, or to try and make you think that the Muslims were a criminal element, an uncouth element, in things that you would not like to be associated with. Also, they say that I'm just clearing these things up, and then we're going to get into what happened. They also say that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a draft dodger. No, he wasn't. He just refused to go to the army because he was a man of peace. He was a minister of a religion of peace. He was teaching peace. So he outright refused to go to the army. That's not draft dodging. That's intelligence. There before the grand jury. Because the coroner's jury is stacked against Negroes. The grand jury is stacked against Negroes. The press, the radio, the television, and the newspapers are stacked against Negroes. But please, the Los Angeles Police Department is stacked against Negroes. He is stacked against all Negroes.
Still is, and that's why I say fuck.
All except those whom he has appointed to high positions. The controlled press, the white press, inflames the white public against Negroes. The police are able to use it to paint the Negro community as a criminal element. The police are able to use the press to make the white public think that 90% or 99% of the Negroes in the Negro community are criminals. And once the white public is convinced that most of the Negro community is a criminal element, then this automatically paves the way for the police to move into the Negro community, exercising Gestapo tactics, stopping any black man who is on the sidewalk, whether he is guilty or whether he is innocent, whether he is well-dressed or whether he is poorly dressed, whether he is educated or whether he is dumb, whether he's a Christian or whether he's a Muslim. As long as he is black and a member of the Negro community, the white public thinks that the white policeman is justified in going in there and trampling on that man's civil rights and on that man's human rights. Once the police have convinced the white public that the so-called Negro community is a criminal element, they can go in and question, brutalize, murder unarmed, innocent Negroes, and the white public is gullible enough to back them up. This makes the Negro community a police state.
This makes the Negro neighborhood a police state. It's the most heavily patrolled. It has more police in it than any other neighborhood, yet it has more crime in it than any other neighborhood. How can you have more cops and more crime? Why? It shows you that the cops must be in cahoots with the criminals. The texture of the hair that God pleased, that God gave him, so much that they'll put lye on it. Do you realize now, you know, brother, lye will eat a hole in steel, and you know your head is not that hard. Who taught you, please? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such an extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you? We teach you to love the hair that God gave you. Here you way out in the middle of the ocean, can't swim, and you worried about someone that's in the bathtub and can't swim. We don't steal, we don't gamble, we don't lie, and we don't cheat. And that also deprives the government of revenue. Because you can't get into a whiskey bottle without getting past the government seal. You can't open a deck of cards without getting past the government seal. There's a white man makes the whiskey and then puts you in jail for getting drunk.
Yeah.
He sells you the cards and the dice and puts you in jail when he gets you using them. So he's against us because we fix it where he can't catch you anymore. We take the dice out of your hands and the cards out of your hands and the whiskey out of your head. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable to respect our women, protect our women. And the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women. We respect them, but we want them to respect us. We think that the law should respect the Negro community. The law should protect the Negro community. The law should approach the Negro community with intelligence if it expects the Negro community to react intelligently. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to always avoid anything that smacks of disrespect for the law. And if the police department tells the truth, they will have to admit that they have never had any experiences with Muslims that have ever been anything other than honorable unless they themselves come at us in a dishonorable way. There's no case against the Muslims. It has no case against these brothers whom they shot down. And because it has no case, it's trying to create a case. It's trying to manufacture a case. And therefore, they set up a grand jury hearing of the case so that they could hear it behind closed doors, and after hearing what we have to say, then build their particular strategy or defense against the actions that they committed on that April the 27th. So at the advice of our attorneys, we purposely, the victims, those who have been indicted, or rather those who have been arrested and are out on bond, have purposely refrained and refused from making any statement whatsoever until after the case appears in court. And when you hear their story, it will be in a public trial. We have already had experience with these private hearings behind closed doors. Anything that the white man has to do to the Muslim, he has to do it in the open. He has to do it in public, or he has to put every single one of us behind bars for the rest of our lives. When Mayor Yorty called for a government investigation of a religious group that has the highest moral standard of any group in the Negro community, Mayor Yorty was giving you an example of what Hitler did in Nazi Germany when he began to go on the rampage. We have confidence that the white public and the black public, if they hear our case, if they hear and have access to the investigation, will never be fooled by this phony setup that's stacked from the top all the way down. And if you doubt it, when you leave home tonight, when you go home tonight, look for the press. I'd like at this time to call forth these brothers who are who were arrested. The brothers who were arrested, come up here behind these chairs, please. They were suspects. This wouldn't happen in a white neighborhood. White man can walk down the street with packages on his head, packages under his arm, and packages everywhere else, and won't anybody question his right to carry those packages. But a Negro is suspect because the press makes you suspect. Yes, the white press makes Negro suspect. What do you got? All the information you need, officer. And the officer made one stay at the rear of the car and the other go to the front of the car. And while he was taking the one to the front of the car, the polite attitude, the humble air, the submissive, intelligent, peaceful spirit that he unexpectedly found in this Negro infuriated him. And he began to, he told the brother, put down your hands. Brother was talking, he's not a criminal. A man has a right on the sidewalk to talk with his hands. Put down your hand, don't talk with your hands. And when the brother continued to gesture with his hands, the officer grabbed his hand, twisted it around behind his back, flung him up against the car, and then that's when hell broke loose. That was when hell broke loose. A struggle ensued. Shots were fired by the police and by a Negro door shaker. An alarm went out. When the alarm went out, instead of the police going to the place where the incident occurred, the police went 1 block away to the temple. When they arrived there, they got out of their cars with their guns smoking. You would have thought it was Wyatt, what his name? Wyatt Earp. I'm telling you, they came out of those cars, and we have enough witnesses to hang them with their guns smoking. Chief Parker knows this, Mayor Yardy knows this, and every police official in the city knows that.
And Daryl Gates was a disciple
in the air.
William A.
They fired warning shots point blank at innocent, unarmed, defenseless Negroes. As I say, 2 of the brothers were shot in the back. Another was shot in the shoulder. Another was shot, 2 of them were shot, excuse the expression, through the penis.
Damn. Damn.
Another was shot in the hip, and the bullet came out the other side. Brother Arthur here was shot 1/4 of an inch from his heart. Let me tell you something, and I'll tell you why you say we hate white people. We don't hate anybody. We love our own people so much they think we hate the ones who are inflicting injustice against them. And who has been shot, the bullet having passed 1/4 of an inch through his heart. I'm not going to let him talk, which I think you can understand why. You should listen to the conversation of the police officers while it was going on. 2 of the brothers who had been shot were lying hand in hand. The officer said they were chanting a death chant. You read that? They were saying, Allahu Akbar. What does that mean? It means that God is the greatest. It means that God is the greatest. Understand this, that the white officer called a death chant was a prayer. They were praying when they were shot down. They were saying, Allahu Akbar. And it shook the officer up because they haven't heard black people talk any kind of talk but what they taught them. And 2 of the brothers who were shot in the back were telling me that as they lay on the sidewalk, they were holding hands. They held hands with each other, saying Allahu Akbar. And the blood was seeping out of them where the police bullets had torn into their insides. Still they said Allahu Akbar. And the police came and kicked them in the head. Police kicked them in the head, telling them to shut up that noise, while they were laying on the sidewalk in front of our temple. Kicked them in the head. Shut up that noise. And one of them, when he was on his way to the police station in the ambulance, one of the ambulance attendants told the white cop, why don't you kill the nigger? He said, I'll tell him that he tried to get away. Why don't you kill the nigger while you got a chance? And I'll swear that he tried to get away. If he didn't say this, then I need to be put in jail, and I'll gladly go. One of them who was being taken to jail in a police car. As the ambulance sirens were coming to the place, one of the policemen said to the other, what are the ambulances rushing for? Nothing but some niggers. So he looked in and saw the Muslim brother sitting beside him, and he said, and he shut up. But after he got to the jail, the same officer that said this turned to the brother and said, I hope that you didn't get offended by what I said back there under the heat of emotion, because some of my best friends are colored. This is what he said. That's his password. Some of my best friends are colored. And I, for one, as a Muslim, believe that the white man is intelligent enough. If he were made to realize how black people really feel and how fed up we are without that old compromise and sweet talk, why, you're the one that make it hard for yourself. The white man believes you when you go to him with that old sweet talk, because you've been sweet talking him ever since he brought you here. Stop sweet talking. Tell him how you feel. Tell him what kind of hell you've been catching, and let him know that if he's not ready to clean his house up, if he's not ready to clean his house up, he shouldn't have a house. It should catch on fire and burn down. Muslims, we identify ourselves with the dark world. So we're not any minority. We're part of the majority, and the white man is the minority. You have to know this to understand us. We don't think any odds are against us. We don't fight a battle like the odds are against us. Why, the whole dark world today is in unity. It's one. If you don't think so, look at the United Nations. When the dark world votes, they vote as one. They get the colonialists out of Africa and out of Asia, telling them to get out. They don't have any nuclear weapons, but they got a solid united voice, and their unity alone is sufficient to drive the oppressor and exploiter of their people out of their own country. You and I need to learn a lesson from that right there. In the UN, the dark world consists of Buddhists, Hindus, Shintoists, Taoists, Christians, Muslims, everything. But they're together. They forget their religious and political differences. They think as one. They move as one against a common enemy. And right out of Algeria, he's going. Don't think he's not going. He's going. They're getting him out of Angola, out of Tanganyika, out of Angola, out of Uganda, out of Kenya. He's going from South Africa too. He hasn't got long to be there. All over this earth, dark people who have been oppressed and exploited by those who are not their own kind, strangers, are coming together to get the oppressor off their back. You and I learn a lesson from that. We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy. When they sat down at the Bandung Conference, everyone there had this in common: a dark skin. Some of those who were sitting there were socialists, some were communists, some were capitalists, some were Christians, some were Buddhists. They were everything. But all of them was dark skin. And they looked at that dark skin and agreed that this is one thing they had in common. Forget that you're a Methodist. Forget that you're a Catholic. Forget that you're a Protestant. Forget that you're a Muslim. Remember that all of us are black and we're catching hell.
And during the few moments that we have left, we want to have just an off-the-cuff chat between you and me. Us. We want
to... Shabaka. Shabaka.
Yes, sir.
You're going to have to cut this show. I was going to play this next speech. That's going to be it.
All right. Okay. And this here is bringing back some memories to me, that I'm kind of reflecting, going through in the early 1960s. And keep in mind, I was just a tiny tot, at this time. Okay. But however, it's quite obvious that it made some type of impression on me in my adulthood.
Obviously. Yeah.
And then at the same token, as well too, there were some guys, man, in Oakland, California around that time. I think one of them was Newton, the other one was Seal. Yeah. And when he used to speak at UC Berkeley, hey, Michael. And then when Malcolm used to speak at UC Berkeley, Dr. Newton had stated that, they listen to everything he said, but they had wanted to take out the concept of a religion in it. So thus in turn, you know, we all know about the 10-point program and what have you. And then, of course, you know, they exercised the Second Amendment rights in California at that time. And that old senile motherfucker who wound up becoming your 40th president made it against the law to carry, you know, to have guns in California. And from what I understand, what the current law is that you can transport a firearm in your vehicle, but the ammo and the firearm have to be separated, but it cannot be in arm's length. It has to be in the trunk. But at the same fucking token, here the LAPD is carrying 2 shotguns in a car on the front floorboard across from each other. And then the California Highway Patrols is having their shotguns in their vehicles, you know, in a vertical position, you see. But you're supposed to have Second Amendment rights, you know. But yeah, as Brother had said, as we all know,
in a perfect world.
Yeah, all this is hypocrisy. Okay, so after this last clip, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be it for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Air date of this episode is May 19th.
I wanted to get the ballot and the bullet, but we're not going to have time.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, and then
see the ballot or the bullet or message to Grassroots.
Okay, all right, message to the Grassroots. Okay. And then to speaking of ballots, I'm also looking at these damn losing ass black ass politicians losing in the southern states, which is no great loss. Okay. And then on
or the biography.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also too for our people out there.
Which one? The biography or the other one, the speech?
Let's go. Oh, okay, let's go with the biography.
Okay.
Because the ballot or the bullet, that is one of his most famous speeches, and I'm just looking at the political fervor that's going on now, you know, if you know what I mean.
Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing today?
Okay, so what do you think about what I've lived through, man, of Malcolm speaking there in 1962?
I think that you have a lot of relevant experience to add. Based on I grew up between segregation and integration. And nobody has the experience that you've been through, Shabaka.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of data. And
Malcolm X was born in America during the Jazz Age.
Very relevant.
The time of rampant racism. A time when African Americans were treated as second-class citizens and had few opportunities.
Not really changed at all. It's just that they did.
Early in his short life, Malcolm worked at a variety of menial jobs, eventually turning to a life of crime. He spent years in prison. Then he converted to Islam and became a voice of hope for many African Americans even today. From criminal to charismatic leader, Biography looks at the life of Malcolm X.
Malcolm became one of the lowest forms of human beings you could become, according to his own testimony in his autobiography. Before he reached his 21st birthday, he was locked up.
Our forefathers weren't the pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us.
We're talking about a guy who began his adult life as a hustler, doing every kind of drug available in the streets of Harlem, sexually promiscuous, a true sinner who purified himself through a religious conversion.
When they are being brutally and unjustly attacked, then the Negroes themselves should take whatever steps necessary to defend themselves.
When he spoke, he struck home to the crux of the matter. He'd hit you with the truth, just like someone would hit you in the head with a blunt instrument and bat your head open.
We must have separation in order to be equal. We must have separation in order to have freedom. We must have separation in order to have justice.
What is your real name?
Malcolm X.
Is that your legal name?
As far as I'm concerned, it's my legal name.
To this
Would you mind telling me what your father's last name was?
My father didn't know his last name. The last name of my forefathers was taken from them when they were brought to America and made slaves. And then the name of the slave master was given, which we refuse. We reject that name today.
You mean you won't even tell me what your father's supposed last name was or gifted last name was?
I never acknowledge it whatsoever.
Although he did not acknowledge his given name in later life, he was born Malcolm Little on May 19, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska. He was the fourth child of Louise and Earl Little. Earl was from Georgia, Louise from Grenada. Earl, a Baptist minister, worked in construction to feed his growing family. Malcolm's childhood was heavily influenced by his parents' involvement in Marcus Garvey's black separatist movement. Garvey preached that to survive, blacks must form their own nation outside the United States and separate from whites.
The Garvey movement largely represented blacks who were not professionals, not largely lawyers and doctors. At least they were not prominent so much. They certainly reached down to get the masses of black people who were not in the mainstream largely of the African-American community.
The Ku Klux Klan was then powerful in the North. In Omaha, the Klan threatened the Littles before Malcolm was born because they were Garvey organizers. Rather than fight, Earl moved his family over the next 3 years, first to Milwaukee, then Indiana, finally settling in Lansing, Michigan in 1928. By then, Earl and Louise had 4 boys and a girl. Despite the dangers, Earl Little continued his work as a Garveyite.
He didn't have a permanent church, but he was a preacher. So he traveled from place to place, promoting Marcus Garvey movement, the separatist movement, and at the same time trying to preach the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He saw no conflicts between the two. Now, Malcolm used to travel with his father as he would talk about Garvey and talk in the churches about Jesus Christ. Malcolm learned to love the talk about Garvey, but he didn't like so much to talk about Jesus Christ.
Settling in the industrialized Midwest was a good idea at the time because Earl could find work. He and Louise had their hands full caring for their growing family. Malcolm's rivalry with his brothers was contentious at times as they competed for their parents' attention. Life was not easy for Malcolm and his family, but his father's hard work and preaching put enough food on the table. Then the Depression changed everything.
In Lansing, Detroit, Grand Rapids, places like that, the loss of jobs for African Americans was devastating. Chances are, if you were black, you were poor.
In 1929, their family home burned to the ground. Malcolm's father believed the Ku Klux Klan was responsible, but there was no proof. Earl Little built a new house, a tar paper shack with no running water, no indoor toilet. Earl gave each child daily chores, some in the garden, some in the house. He was a tough father, beating his children if they didn't follow his rules.
Malcolm's mother and father were violent in their relationship to each other. Malcolm talks about his father, expressing the frustrations that he experienced in the society in the context of the family. And that created a great deal of tension within the family. In fact, Malcolm claims that it was from the fight between his mother and his father that led his father to leave that day he was killed.
In 1931, when Malcolm was 6, Earl Little died. He fell or was pushed off a streetcar in the middle of the night. His left arm was crushed and his left leg partially severed by the rear wheels. Although officials said the death was accidental, Malcolm believed his father had been killed by the Ku Klux Klan because of his separatist views. But Malcolm never talked publicly about his father's death.
This particular experience left the family destitute. And so Malcolm grew up in a very difficult situation in which he had very little reinforcement for his self-esteem in the environment in which he lived.
In the 1930s, none of the 7 children had enough to eat. Stale bread, wild onions, and dandelion leaves were often the only food. At school, Malcolm ate alone, rarely joining the other kids for lunch.
For Malcolm, going to a predominantly white school, for example, feeling alienated from the dominant culture, feeling as if he really had very few friends and his white friends pretty much shunned him, that could have deep psychological effects on Malcolm.
He was tall, handsome, red-haired, light-skinned, different, even within his family.
Much of the color symbolism was reflected in the context of that family. Malcolm's mother was very light complexion. And so Malcolm's father was a very dark complexion man. So the children were mixed. Some were dark, some were light. Malcolm was light, red, very much like his mother in color. So his mother was hard on him. She wanted Malcolm to get in the sun and put some black on him.
Malcolm became a troublesome child after his father's death. His mother found it hard to supervise her family alone. Though Malcolm was a good student, he became a disciplinary problem, and he was moved from school to school. But despite all that, in the 7th grade, he was voted class president. Years later, Malcolm realized this was his first experience with tokenism. Being the only African-American or one of a few also makes you an exotic. He did get a lot of attention, and people noticed him wherever he went. It's also an unusual situation to be not only young, black, poor, in a predominantly white community, but to be as intelligent and as articulate as he was, which made him in some respects an automatic leader even among his peers. Because his teachers found him so hard to handle, in the 8th grade, Malcolm was placed in a white foster home in Mason, Michigan. The authorities thought new surroundings would calm him. Soon he was first in his class, but his desire to achieve, to be somebody, quickly faded.
In fact, when he was in the 8th grade, the incident that forced him to drop out of school, embarrassed him, made him feel like he was not important, was when his teacher asked him what he wanted to be when he would grow up.
Brother Che, freeze that for a second. I just want to make one small comment.
And his teacher said to him, Malcolm, you have to be a little more realistic than that, because you can't be that and a nigger at the same.
Shabaka, I can't freeze too much longer because I'm up against the clock now. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, anyway, he was the one that wrote that book that I read called Martin Malcolm in America, where Dr. King was talking about his kitchen experience.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. I just want to put that there. He was the author of that book. Martin Malcolm in America is the name of the book. Okay, please continue.
Okay.
Time. Being a lawyer is no realistic expectation for a nigger, he said.
He became disheartened and quit school. Malcolm was 14. It was the eve of World War II. Though the Depression was ending, life was still hard in America, especially for blacks. Malcolm's mother, Louise, was pregnant with her 8th child. The father was unknown. She was increasingly losing touch with reality. After her son was born, she was found wandering in the cold of winter, her feet bare, her baby boy held tightly in her arms. Louise was declared legally insane and committed to Kalamazoo State Hospital. Malcolm now had neither mother nor father to guide him.
He could not be just like the white children, and thus being shown in many ways that he could not be accepted just like anybody else. And this tension grew in Malcolm, so much so that he dropped out of the dominant society.
School had no meaning for Malcolm. Teachers could not discipline him. He sometimes stole. But something new was on the horizon. His half-sister Ella, a daughter from Earl Little's first marriage, came from Boston to visit the family. After she returned home, she asked Malcolm to stay with her over the summer. She knew her half-brother was having a difficult time and took it on herself to save him. But Boston opened Malcolm's eyes.
Boston was the big city, and he was treated by his peers immediately as a kind of country bumpkin, backwards, young. And one way to escape that country baggage was to enter a kind of cool subculture, in this case of the zoot suit, of the hipster, a kind of underground, predominantly male youth culture that was raging in the late 30s and early 40s.
After the summer, Malcolm returned to Lansing, where his family was still struggling to survive. He felt isolated and sent Ella a letter saying he wanted to live in Boston. She told him he was welcome. By February 1941, he was back in a city that would change his life forever. After the death of his father, his mother's confinement in an insane asylum, and his increasing loneliness as one of the few blacks in East Lansing, 15-year-old Malcolm was anxious to return to the predominantly black Roxbury section of Boston. Once there, he gave his sister Ella more problems than she could handle.
She literally went around the streets looking for him. Because he came to Boston, like he was a country boy, and he of course had to do a lot of ducking and dodging because there were a lot of relatives who lived in Boston at that time, and he just became completely dazzled by everything and wanted to get out there.
Malcolm wanted to be like the blacks at the dance hall, the ballroom hall. He wanted to be like the blacks who were not ashamed of who they were and who lived in the underworld, and he became a part of it.
When you go to a place like the Rosen Ballroom, for example, they were packed full of young people, men dressed in zoot suits. Young women who sort of identified with the hipster culture.
Malcolm bought a colorful zoot suit. Then he took the painful, fashionable step of conking his hair, straightening it using lye, raw potatoes, and eggs. He was starting a new life. Though Ella wanted him to be a lawyer, to go into business, Malcolm's thoughts were elsewhere. After years as an outsider, Malcolm had finally found a place where he belonged.
They embraced him because one, he was articulate. They embraced him because he ended up being a very good dancer. He was stylish. He was able to put on a suit of clothes and look like a changed person, a brand new person, and step out of his background and into kind of a whole new world.
Part of that world was the inner sanctum of the pool hall, the hangout of hustlers, hipsters, budding crooks, and small-time criminals.
I used to play pool in this pool every day. And Malcolm had a reputation in Roxbury at that time of being one of the best dressed men in town with the famous zoot suit. And he was standing on the sidelines watching the fellas shoot pool.
One day in the pool hall, Shorty Jarvis made a great shot and in the excitement lost his watch.
And I looked at Malcolm and I said, "You didn't see it, did you?" Because he was a newcomer. And he had a smirk on his face. And I walked up to him quick with my hands in those days, grabbed him and I drew back to hit him. And when I did, somebody grabbed my arm and said to me, "No, he didn't take your watch. Somebody else got your watch and they're gone." Now I was in the process of apologizing to him and straightening out his shirt. "Man, I'm sorry. I falsely accused you," and so on and so on. That was the beginning of our friendship.
Despite the fancy clothes, to survive, Malcolm had to take what he called slave jobs, menial work open to blacks. He worked as a kitchen porter on the New Haven Railroad, bussed tables, swept floors. In nightclubs where he met the big entertainers of the day, Malcolm shined shoes. The jobs gave him money to eat, leaving him time to develop his skills as a petty criminal.
Malcolm was, in my opinion, a beautiful con artist. He was a thinker. And he learned these things from street smarts, I call it, from living on the streets and being around people in the hustling world. He could meet you on the street, as I've told it many times, and be broke and talk you out of your last $2, and you'd give it to him with enthusiasm.
Working on the railroad allowed Malcolm to travel freely and often between Boston and Harlem, New York.
Harlem was the capital of not just the hipster culture, the capital of the Black world. And so going to Harlem for Malcolm was like going to Harlem for a lot of African Americans. It was entering the most exciting place you can possibly be.
Malcolm, already part of Boston's subculture, became part of Harlem's thriving underground economy. He moved into pimping, steering white men to black prostitutes. During World War II, Malcolm was a petty stick-up man, ran numbers, sold marijuana. He frequented jazz clubs, was a small-time pusher, and used every drug he could find.
Clubs where jazz was performed were places of exchange for drug dealers and users. And so the whole world that surrounded Malcolm was also one infested with drugs. And so it was hard for him to escape that possibility.
In spite of the lure of Harlem, Malcolm always returned to Boston, to Roxbury, where he was admired for his flashy clothes and his charismatic personality.
It was like a Romeo, and I say that. The girls were all after him. He was the type of person that when he walked down the street, he would command attention. With that blood red hair he had and with that zoot suit on, the girls were all in love with him.
During Christmas 1945, Malcolm, in constant need of new thrills, went on a spur-of-the-moment robbery spree in Cambridge with Jarvis and 3 white women, one of whom was Malcolm's girlfriend.
We went out stealing for 2 weeks for a fun kid. Somebody in the gang said, "Oh, let's go out and break in somebody's house for fun." Being adventurous as young people like to be. We certainly wasn't doing it for money. We were making our own livelihoods in our own rights. So for fun for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, we stopped.
Malcolm was eventually arrested when he attempted to buy back a watch he had pawned. The gang was caught, indicted, and tried in early 1946. Malcolm and Shorty could not make bail and were kept in a cage inside the courtroom. Jarvis said the detectives and prosecution were furious that white girls were socializing with black men.
They tried to get the girls to say that we had raped them. The girls wouldn't hear that because they knew better. They sentenced the girls to 5 years in a reformatory and gave them a suspended sentence and set them free.
But Malcolm Little, not yet 21, and Malcolm Jarvis were given up to 10 years in prison.
We were not hardened criminals. We didn't feel that we deserved that kind of time as first offenders. So we were given that time mostly because of our associating with white girls.
It was very difficult for Malcolm not to be put in jail and not to get in trouble with the law because of the context of the world in which he was living. And it was in prison that his life was transformed.
In jail, Malcolm made a pact with Jarvis that they would learn everything they could and not come out, in Jarvis's words, as stupid and dumb as we went in. Life in prison was like nothing they had ever known.
The cell you lived in was 6 by 12. You had a hard cot to lay on, 1 table, 1 small stool, a bucket of water, no running water, and a bucket for defecation. It was unsanitary, unclean, and filthy.
So with years of time on their hands, the 2 friends sat, studied, and read long into the night until their eyes burned. Malcolm educated himself, sharpening his skills as a debater and speaker. While he was in prison, Malcolm's brothers, Wilford and Filbert, had become members of the Nation of Islam, a small black separatist movement in Detroit led by Elijah Muhammad, a one-time follower of Marcus Garvey. Malcolm's brothers urged him to convert, saying they'd found a religion, a way of life that offered survival. At first, Malcolm resisted. Then he relented. His life was transformed.
He saw Christianity as the white man's religion, as the religion of black people who wanted to become like white people. But here in the black Muslim, the Nation of Islam, he encountered a religion that reinforced his identity as a black person and enabled himself to love himself as a black person.
He didn't have a particular love for white people, and they used to call him Satan at one time because they thought he was evil. A lot of the white inmates especially used to call him that.
In 1952, after 6.5 years in prison, Malcolm Little was released on parole wearing a $10 suit. He moved to Michigan to be with his older brother Wilfred. In Detroit, he would once again transform himself. After 6.5 years in prison, Malcolm was released in August 1952. He went to Detroit, where his brother Wilfred found him a construction job. He joined the Nation of Islam's mosque. He worked hard to gain acceptance, to earn his X, his new name for his new life as a black Muslim, to replace the slave name imposed on his forefathers. Malcolm soon went to Chicago, the headquarters of the Nation of Islam, where he met with Elijah Muhammad and officially became Malcolm X. His religious conversion was complete.
It is an about-face, a complete turnaround, a totally new life in which Malcolm, who was the criminal, now becomes a minister in the religion of Islam.
When Malcolm came out of prison, the Nation of Islam was a quite isolated little sect of about 400 souls. He would tell Muhammad, you've got to bring this message to a much larger audience.
So he became a recruiter, one who went out and fished, as he said, for others to become a part of the Nation of Islam.
The Negro will be serving notice that no longer does he believe in turning the other cheek and being the constant victim of someone else's brutality.
The message of Elijah Muhammad was clear. The Nation of Islam did not need white people or white society. Black self-esteem came first, and with it, the establishment of a separate country inside the United States for blacks alone. Failing that, blacks should be allowed to return to their African homeland.
We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us.
The message was always, this is a racist society. White folks are not going to rescue you. Forget about the civil rights movement. Forget about the civil rights legislation.
You will never get real freedom and recognition between black and white people in this country without destroying the country.
It was a message that terrified white America and was too extreme for most black Americans, who saw the more moderate civil rights movement growing. In 1954, in Brown versus the Board of Education, the Supreme Court said public schools must be integrated. In 1955, Rosa Parks started the Montgomery bus boycott by refusing to move to the back of the bus. Martin Luther King Jr. at 26 began his rise as a leader in the push toward integration.
The Negro citizens of Montgomery, Alabama will return to the buses on a non-segregated basis.
Meanwhile, the Nation of Islam struggled to win converts.
Malcolm became the chief evangelist for the Nation of Islam, and he would go from city to city with great success.
As a reward, Elijah appointed Malcolm head of Temple 7 in New York.
Who was that
he became
man
the national representative for the Nation of Islam.
In that photo right there? I give you one
very
guess.
highly as the number 2 person in the Nation of Islam. And it will be being regarded as the number 2 person that will eventually lead to all kinds of jealousy.
Move to the head of the class, young man.
Elijah regarded Malcolm as a son and told him he should marry for the good of the movement. In January 1958, at age 32, Malcolm wed Betty Saunders, who had gone to college and was planning to become a nurse. They moved to a small house in East Elmhurst, Queens, owned by the Nation of Islam. In November of that year, Atala, the first of their 6 daughters, was born. Malcolm was a caring father, a good husband, but he was almost never home. His missionary work and message came first. Blacks have been deprived for hundreds of years. It's time to take a stand.
In the areas of the country where the government has proven itself unable or unwilling to defend the Negroes when they are being brutally and unjustly attacked, then the Negroes themselves should take whatever steps necessary to defend themselves.
Because of Malcolm's efforts and his personal charisma, the movement was growing fast.
Malcolm was very easy to grab hold to because Malcolm was John Wayne. Malcolm was all the things in the movie that we saw about our heroes. Our heroes didn't take nothing from nobody, and they always had the best lines.
Tall, lean, handsome,
magnetic,
a brilliant smile.
Who was that black man speaking?
That was Dick Gregory.
Yeah.
Smile, dazzling smile.
Malcolm was everywhere. He debated on college campuses, made speeches on street corners, appeared on radio and television. The more Malcolm saw of America, the more his philosophy began to change.
For Elijah Muhammad, the movement was strictly religious. Allah would be the one that would punish the white devil. Malcolm, however, did not want to wait on that.
It was the start of the rift between Malcolm and the Nation of Islam. But there was something on the horizon that would widen the split further. Malcolm discovered that Elijah might have fathered as many as 8 illegitimate children. He thought if the story got out, it could seriously hurt the movement. He called fellow ministers he trusted to warn them of the danger.
All 3 of the people he told immediately blew the whistle on him, called headquarters in Chicago and said, Malcolm is blaspheming against the messenger. He was the object of a lot of jealousy, so I think those people were motivated partly by jealousy. One of them was Louis Farrakhan.
Malcolm's finding out that Elijah Muhammad was actually the biggest hypocrite of all was quite devastating to him. It took the very foundation upon which he was standing out from under his feet.
His access to Elijah became limited. He was rarely quoted in Muhammad Speaks, the newspaper he created. But despite his problems, Malcolm continued preaching the gospel of the Nation of Islam.
Give us a chance to solve our own problem. among ourselves on some land of our own, instead of continually trying to force us into white society, where the white society knows we're absolutely not wanted.
Now, Malcolm did not see how you could get freedom for African Americans by trying to be like white people. He did not see that whites would ever accept us fully as human beings. So for him, he didn't see why it is that the civil rights movement fought so hard to be integrated at the lunch counter for a cup of coffee, because he felt that a cup of coffee was a small price to pay for 250 years of slavery.
As the civil rights movement gained momentum, the Nation of Islam remained on the sidelines, unyielding in its dreams of separatism. Though Malcolm kept his religious faith, he was moving further toward political activism and inevitably toward a greater confrontation with Elijah Muhammad. Though Malcolm's differences with the Nation of Islam were widening, it was not apparent to outsiders. He was as uncompromising and faithful as ever.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the only solution for the problem is that our people, of which there are now 22 million, be involved in a mass exodus back to our own homeland.
Despite adhering to the party line, Malcolm became increasingly isolated from Elijah Muhammad and his inner circle. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963, gave the Nation of Islam a way to limit Malcolm's growing influence.
Elijah Muhammad did not want anybody talking about the death of Kennedy, the reason being that he was a beloved figure not only in white America, but in black America.
On December 1st, Malcolm gave a standard speech, but in an unusual departure, he took questions. And his first one was about Kennedy's death.
He said it was a case of the chickens coming home to roost. It was exactly what he shouldn't have said in terms of his relations with Elijah Muhammad. So he had handed his enemies a sword.
Elijah Muhammad knew that silence was his best weapon against Malcolm. He suspended him for 3 months. In January 1964, Malcolm had a secret meeting with Elijah in Phoenix and learned he had no chance for reinstatement. His ideas for the Nation of Islam had become too threatening to Elijah Muhammad's power structure.
They didn't want Malcolm to succeed Elijah Muhammad as the leader of the movement. And the best way to do that was to make sure that Malcolm was marginalized and expelled.
And worse, Malcolm began to receive death threats by telephone, by letter, and on the street. In March 1964, after 3 months of silence and much soul-searching, Malcolm quit the Nation of Islam to form his own organization, the Muslim Mosque Incorporated.
He wants to join the civil rights movement to broaden its scope so as to make it much more militant, infuse some militancy in it.
Malcolm brought his new message everywhere with renewed energy. In Washington, during a hearing on civil rights, he accidentally met Martin Luther King Jr. for the only time. The two men merely exchanged greetings. In April, Malcolm delivered a major speech defining his new activism.
The ballot is as powerful as the bullet. At least they're both important. And if you don't use the ballot, you're going to have to use the bullet.
The Nation of Islam, continuing its purge of Malcolm, filed an eviction notice ordering Betty and their daughters to vacate their home. Malcolm and his family did not leave. Soon afterwards, his sense of religious mission drew him to a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a pilgrimage to Mecca. It was a journey that would fundamentally change him.
I didn't see any racism. I didn't see any conflict between the people over there because of the colors of their skin or the differences in color of skin.
Many in America wanted to believe that Malcolm had modified his extremist views.
What most whites wanted Malcolm to say and to do was to act as if racism had been eliminated, and therefore I like all white people. And Malcolm could never say that.
In 1964, Malcolm formed the Organization of Afro-American Unity, created to reach out to blacks throughout the world as an expression of brotherhood.
Unlike
and
the
then
other
also
leaders
too,
at the
his
time, Malcolm had
relationship
foreign
was
policy.
how he was
He
strained
treated
too at this
in Africa when he traveled around almost like he was the Secretary of State, you know, from black folks in America to the rest of the world.
But to the American government, Malcolm was seen as a revolutionary.
Malcolm was a haunted man and a hunted man. Agents of the American government, both of the State Department and the CIA, were monitoring his movements around Africa. He gets home and the climate is tindery hot.
Inflammatory articles against Malcolm appeared frequently in the Nation of Islam newspaper, Muhammad Speaks.
The most notorious was one written by Louis Farrakhan and Louis X, who had been a protege of Malcolm's. Malcolm himself described it as a death warrant.
In December 1964 and into January 1965, the threats continued. There were even several attempts on his life, assumed by some to be inspired by the Nation of Islam.
I said, if you think for one moment that these brothers are not going to try to take you out, you're mistaken.
But he knew he was hunted, and he knew his days were numbered, I think.
In the early morning hours of February 14, 1965, his home was firebombed and destroyed.
Except for a lucky stroke of fate, he and his family, including 4 quite small children, and his wife, who was pregnant with twins, would have died.
I really think Malcolm didn't want to die. I mean, he knew he was going to be killed. I knew he was going to be killed.
Malcolm moved his family and continued his mission, making speeches in Detroit and New York. In the week following the firebombing, observers described him as being very tense. On Saturday, February 20th, the day before he was to make a speech at the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem, he checked into the Hilton Hotel in Manhattan.
I think he enjoyed the luxuries. He used to kid about it. He'd say, "Now I know what white folks have been hiding from us all these years."
Despite his going into hiding, threatening calls to his home and the hotel did not stop. Sunday morning, Malcolm phoned Dick Gregory in Chicago, wondering if he would be there for the speech.
And Malcolm kind of sad, but Malcolm knew something was going to happen, you know. And then I said, "I love you," and I would have liked to say, "See you when I get back," but I knew better.
Before the speech, Malcolm was making plans for a trip south later that week.
I went backstage and I was talking to him, and I remember thinking for the first time that he really looked harried.
He gets to the lectern, does the traditional Muslim greeting.
I heard him say, "Assalamu alaikum."
Somebody leaps up and says, "Nigger, get your hands out of my pockets."
And then the next thing I heard was the shots. And when I heard the shots, I jumped up and I ran through the doors into the main room. And it sounded to me like literally hundreds of shots.
The first blast killed him, riddled his chest.
And I heard, people screaming and getting knocked down. And I got knocked down on the floor.
Two more guys come up, one with a Luger and one, I believe, with a 45, and pump bullets into his dying body.
So I lay on the floor till I heard the shooting stop. Then I jumped up and I ran down and I jumped on stage. And I saw him, laying there on stage, and someone had pulled his shirt open and I saw the bullet holes in his body.
At 39 years of age, on Sunday, February 21st, 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated by 3 men, all members of the Nation of Islam.
He died for what he believed in. And he believed with his whole heart, soul, and mind in the struggle of the Afro-Americans in this country.
1 week later, thousands would attend Malcolm X's funeral in Harlem. People were stunned by his death. Black America had lost a powerful leader. Born into a life of struggle and uncertainty, Malcolm X lived as a hustler and pimp, then as a fighter for his people, and finally, a man of God. But the controversy sparked by his death would ensure that Malcolm X would not easily be forgotten. Malcolm X was laid to rest in Hartsdale, New York, on February 27, 1965. Throughout his life, he remained uncompromising in his expectations for African Americans. For 30 years, the legacy of Malcolm X has been as much a source of controversy as the circumstances surrounding his death. In 1995, the passions and doubts that have smoldered since that time were rekindled.
Ever since the black leader Malcolm X was assassinated 3 decades ago, his family has been convinced that the Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan was involved. Farrakhan was certainly a bitter rival, and today one of Malcolm X's daughters has been arrested and accused of trying to arrange for Mr. Farrakhan to be murdered.
In 1965, Kabila Shabazz was 4 years old. She was in the Audubon Ballroom with her mother and 3 sisters, only a few feet away when assassins gunned down her father. 30 years later, she has been tied to a conspiracy to murder Louis Farrakhan, the man who was her father's great rival in the Nation of Islam. Despite his violent opposition to Malcolm's break with Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan has denied any involvement in the murder of Malcolm X.
No, I was not in any way involved in his murder. I said such a man as Malcolm is worthy of death. And were it not for Elijah Muhammad's faith in God, it would have been so. I was very angry with Malcolm for what Malcolm had done. I was hurt by his assassination. I can't say that I approved, and I really didn't disapprove. I was numb.
The charges against Kabila Shabazz set off a bizarre series of accusations, conspiracy theories, and shifting alliances.
Lawyers for both Ms. Shabazz and Mr. Farrakhan charged that a government informant lured her into a plot.
Although Shabazz did not plead guilty, she also admitted that a statement she made last December, where she said killing Farrakhan was her idea, was substantially true. But outside of court, she disavowed the confession.
But it was coerced. It was coerced. It was coerced.
Now, instead of going on trial on charges that carried a prison term of up to 90 years, Shabazz is getting what amounts to 2 years probation.
The surreal sequence of events culminated less than 1 week after the hearing, when once passionate enemies stood as apparent allies.
At New York's Apollo Theater last night, Betty Shabazz, the widow of Malcolm X, and Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan tried to make amends after a 30-year rift. At a fundraiser hosted by Farrakhan to benefit her family, Mrs. Shabazz thanked her husband's one-time enemy for his support.
It is an uneasy truce, but it is a measure of the impact Malcolm X had that 3 decades later, his death and his legacy are still capable of stirring powerful emotions.
What did he leave? He didn't leave no buildings. I said he left changed minds. And that's the most lasting thing.
He was a field general in the movement. And he was loved for that. And he will be loved for a long, long time for his ethics and for his integrity.
The goal he had in mind was to teach our people to rise up in this world.
Shabaka, the video's done.
Racism.
It
read its ugly head.
My personal problem is never solved as long as the problem is not solved for all of our people in this country. So I remain Malcolm X as long as there is a need to protest and struggle and fight against the injustices that our people are involved in this country.
Malcolm X led a life of continual change and growth. Spent the final years of his life struggling to find his spirituality. There was no doubt in the minds of his followers that he was headed for greatness, perhaps public office. But when Malcolm was murdered, his dreams were left unfulfilled. But his teachings endure, and his life story continues to inspire.
Okay, I don't think Malcolm would ever ran for any political office. he would have. But that is just my opinion, you know what I'm saying, coming up there through the era. You know, probably would have went on the lecture circuit some more. You know what I mean? And fighting for his family and what have you. Yeah, but it's kind of interesting they didn't have anything about his relationship with Muhammad Ali in there, you know, with that. Is because I think
this goes back to a Malcolm X talk that I was listening.
I think that Ali was told to stay away from the X-Man, you know, after he became the champion. Okay. All right. So thanks for having me, folks, here on season 11, season 11, episode 40, or Malcolm X edition of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Okay, I'm going to turn over the rest of the podcast, you know, to Brother Che and Krumah and Michael. And thanks for having me. And please share this episode far and wide on what would have been Malcolm X's 101st birthday. All right. So I'm bidding everyone a good night from Las Vegas, Nevada. And the air date of this episode is May 19th, 2026.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Shabaka, for season 11, episode 40, Malcolm X edition of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
Yes, sir.
Either later on for Frontline Black News. I might do a late night show. We'll see.
Okay.
Because I got some topics I didn't get to last night. I need to get to tonight. And then Lady J should be doing an RBA whenever she wakes up.
Okay. All righty. Okay, so thank you all so very, very much. And please share this episode far and wide. And I'm bidding you a good evening here from Las Vegas, Nevada. Take care.
Come on, 7-Eleven.
Exactly.
All right, Michael, give your closing.
Yeah, so my closing statement is that what Malcolm X predicted, you know, from his experience growing up and how it's relevant to today's is that people don't change overnight, but they only change over time for individuals. And so he's really saying that it's really important to demand equality, but equality demands conditions, because equality without conditions is just pointless. Just like in the movie Negotiator, when Danny Roman said to Kevin Spacey, I'll give you something unless you give me something. You don't give me something, I don't give you something. So it's same thing with voting. It's like a demand. It's like a hostage situation.
It's called quid pro quo.
Yep, quid pro quo. Exactly, which is very powerful because it sends a message to the negotiator. If you want something, or if you want to end this this fight, something got to give. If something doesn't give, negotiations are off the table.
Exactly. Okay, Michael. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jesse. Thank you.
And if I do a show later, you're welcome to join us then as well.
Yep. Anytime. Oh, I forgot to tell Shabaka about for tomorrow. I think you could pass a message to him.
I emailed him, but yeah, I guess I couldn't.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah.
But he had a situation, so I might have to wait till tomorrow.
Right. Oh, yeah, I understand. And by the way, I did get a response from Andre Sanford, who's running for State Assembly, California.
No, I don't have time for the debrief.
Okay, never mind. That's another time. Yeah, sorry.
I gotta leave Lady Chase here shortly.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate everybody that tapped in with us for the special edition of Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced Malcolm X edition for Malcolm X Day 2026. Make sure y'all check us out on Frontline Black News on YouTube and Facebook, The Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook, and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So shout out to everybody that tapped in with us. Shout out to Michael for coming through. Shout out to Shabaka. Shout out to Jay Millie. Shout out to Jermaine. Shout out to Black Joe. Shout out to Dr. Truth Bay. Shout out to Cardenas, 7 points from Detroit. Who else is in here? Anybody that was peeking and not speaking. And of course, Lady Che. So peace, love, light, reparations and separations and delineations of Black empowerment. Che and Krumah and Lady Che signing out from the Maha incoming illegal migrant fled the city. We're going to go out with One Mic by Nas, Malcolm X Edition. I'm sorry, I have a speech impediment. Appreciate everybody that tapped in. We'll see y'all later for Frontline Black News in the RBA. And the air date of this program was May 19, 2026.
This is why I say it's the ballot or the bullet. It's liberty or it's death. There's freedom for everybody or freedom for nobody. America today finds herself in a unique situation. Historically, revolutions are bloody. Oh, yes, they are. They have never had a bloodless revolution or a nonviolent revolution. That don't happen even in Hollywood. You don't have a revolution in which you love your enemy. And you don't have a revolution in which you're begging the system of exploitation to integrate you into it. Revolutions overturn systems. Revolutions destroy systems. A revolution is bloody. But America is in a unique position. She's the only country in history in a position actually to become involved in a bloodless revolution. The Russian Revolution was bloody. Chinese Revolution was bloody. French Revolution was bloody. Cuban Revolution was bloody. And there was nothing more bloody than the American Revolution. But today, this country can become involved in a revolution that won't take bloodshed. All she's got to do is give the black man in this country everything that's due. Everything. I hope that the white man can see this. Because if you don't see it, you're finished. If you don't see it, you're going to become involved in some action in which you don't have a chance. We don't care anything about your atomic bomb. It's useless. Because other countries have atomic bombs. When 2 or 3 different countries have atomic bombs, nobody can use it. So it means that the white man today is without a weapon. If you want some action, you got to come on down to earth. And there's more black people on earth than there are white people. I only got a couple more minutes. The white man can never win another war on the ground. His days of war victory, his days of background victory, oh, can I prove it? Yes. Take all the action that's going on this earth right now that he's involved in. Tell me where he's winning. Nowhere. Why some race bombers, some race eaters. Ran him out of Cordia. Yes, they ran him out of Cordia. Race eaters was nothing but gym shoes and a rifle and a bowl of rice. Took him and his tanks and his napalm and all that other action he's supposed to have and ran him across the yellow. Why? Because the day that he can win on the ground is past. Up in French Indochina, those little peasants, race growers, took on the might of the French army and ran all the Frenchmen. You remember Din Ben Phu? No. The same thing happened in Algeria, in Africa. They didn't have anything but a rifle. The French had all these highly mechanized instruments of warfare, but they put some guerrilla action on. And a white man can't fight a guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla action takes heart, takes nerve, and he doesn't have that.